too fast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today it's back to the Trinity. We were going to have a special guest, but unfortunately, snafus happened, and they weren't able to make it for this episode, but hopefully they'll be able to make it for the next one. This episode is going to be very interesting, though. It's on a topic that I've kind of been wanting to talk about for a little while now, but wanted to kind of get some time into the WraithCast before we even talked about it, because this was originally going to just be a fighting game podcast, believe it or not. And we, just kind of blew up, so, in terms of topics. So we went out and branched out, and then we did the Shiva episode. Well, I did the Shiva episode with Judge, who is not going to be joining us this evening. But regardless, because of how much we've expanded the WraithCast, I decided let's dial it back a little bit to its original intended theme and talk about a fighting game. The fighting game that is nearest and dearest to my heart, Mortal Kombat. So, it'll just be the original Trinity, me, Mars, me, Matty, and Mono. A lot of M's, I'm sorry. Talking about Mortal Kombat. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hey, Mono is here!
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
Yes!
Super excited to talk about Mortal Kombat today.
Hell yeah! This is a topic that's been a bit of a long time coming, back when this was supposed to be a fighting game podcast, and now it's just like, all the things!
All the things, every single thing.
Yes, from atoms to Zulu, we're gonna cover everything on this cast eventually, damn it. Which is a little bit weird because I don't actually have a cast theme for September, so that will be fun.
I look forward to seeing whatever it is.
If you or Maddie or anybody else has suggestions, please lay them on me. Ideas are welcome.
Alright, I guess I'd have to brainstorm it.
Yeah, and again, it could, because the WraithCast has just kind of exploded in diversity, it could be about anything. You could do school, or fish, or asteroids crashing into the planet. You know, you never know what you're going to talk about. Hey, and Matty is here! Except microphone troubles, I think.
Hello.
Ah, there he is!
Welcome.
Yes. Excellent. So, let us not delay, and we've got quite a few topics to cover today because Mortal Kombat is such a massive franchise. It is going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary next year. Which, wow. That's,
Crazy to think it's been that long.
Yeah, also, not to be mean, it's a little weird for a franchise to have a midlife crisis before its 30th anniversary, but, you know. But, you know.
The best of us.
I'm hoping they do something fun with the 30th anniversary. Because, for example, when Street Fighter had its 30th anniversary, they released a collection of almost all the arcade games, like original Street Fighter arcade games, into one game. And I kind of hope Mortal Kombat does something similar.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's a gimme. Granted, WB is also not known for doing a lot of gimmies for reasons. Like, fun fact, Doomguy was supposed to be in Mortal Kombat 11. Bethesda wanted in.
One of my fucking answers to one of the points, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to that. But yeah, point is, WB is not known for making smart decisions, and hopefully they get their heads out of their asses for this one.
I can tell.
All right, so let's get started with the very first topic, and this should be a fairly easy one. There are almost 90, or I think there's over 90 now, Mortal Kombat characters. There's 63 as of Armageddon, Scarlet was 64. I'm not counting guest characters, by the way, I'm just counting all the new ones. So 64 plus 8 for MKX, that was 72? 73 if you count Triborg separately. And then 75. Okay, so there are 75 playable, keyword is playable, Mortal Kombat characters in the franchise. And that's a lot of people. But I want to know from Mono, starting from Mono, that is.
Yep.
Who is your favorite of the combatants?
Alright, so this might be a bit of a basic answer since he's literally one of the biggest faces of the series. I'm gonna have to pick Sub-Zero, more specifically Kuai Liang.
Oh, nice.
And so, most of the reasons just kind of stem from me really liking his character and personality and the way he's changed throughout the decades. I like that he started off as a somewhat neutral, like, assassin into, in more recent games, this teacher figure that protects Earth and helps train younger warriors to help defend Earth. I just think that natural evolution is really cool. And also, I just really love the color blue, and I like ice.
Well, Kuai Liang is a cool guy, so that's all well and good.
I also just love his no-nonsense personality. It bounces off pretty well in intros with characters like Johnny and Gassy.
Yeah, absolutely no. He's absolutely the straight man in a comedy movie.
Oh, for sure.
And how about you, Matty?
I was eating pizza.
That's why we were talking about this earlier. Dinner time, pizza time. And no, Spider-Man's not an acceptable answer for anybody who wants to get smart with me about this.
So my favorite combatant is Peter Parker. No.
Stole the guy's pizza.
My favorite combatant is Melina. She just
Nice.
hacks, whacks, chomping that meat. I love feral characters. You know, I love the bloodthirst because I love the edgy stuff because that was kind of the characters I grew up on. And gameplay wise, like the ball roll and the teleport are just so fun. I could just ball roll my entire life. It would be so good. And I appreciate good healing moves too.
I've always loved how Melina has been somewhat of like a Venus flytrap of a character where she tries to lure you in with like how like gorgeous she looks, but then the second she takes off that mask, it is like a bloodbath.
Even sexier.
Well, if you're into a certain genre of monsters, sure.
I wish, I have played, like, to completion, just MKX and 11, but I know a lot more about Mortal Kombat just from, like, lore-wise, and I'm on, like, the periphery of the Mortal Kombat fandom. And from what I understand, I wish that, like, the general population of Melina fans understood that just because your fave is rabid doesn't mean you have to be. From what I understand, Melina fans are not well liked.
Well, the thing is that they're dedicated, but
Very loyal.
Yeah.
Very loyal.
Oh yeah, like, and well, they absolutely, you know, sometimes they go crazy, but I will say this: they are not the worst part of the Mortal Kombat fandom in terms of characters, and I'm not sure if we have a topic about that, but let's just say that a specific fandom actually managed to drive one of the higher-ups at NetherRealm off of Twitter.
Oof.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I'll tell you right now, I don't think a Melina fan has that kind of bite in order to do that. You know what I mean? Because you know, they're not mean per se. They're just hungry.
There's definitely a lot of character fan bases in MK that have been annoying for sure. Like no one, like out of the more popular characters, no one's really safe. It's just that Melina in particular has the most vocal fans.
Yeah.
And it's because for like a year and a half, people have been wondering, is she going to be in this game or not?
Yeah, and it's weird because it strikes me that MK11 like did not have Melina planned out at all. And then by Combat Pack 1's end, it's like, we should probably do something with Melina, which is probably why she feels less finished than everybody else.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
Like I said, I only played MK MK11, and my first game was MKX. So imagine like me trying an actual Mortal Kombat game for the first time and being like, "Yo, I love Melina," and then she fucking dies.
To one of the
I
new
was
characters,
so
no
depressed.
less.
I was so depressed. I was like, "What?"
Why would you do
But I got her
such
back.
a thing?
I got her back, so we all good.
It's fine. It's all fine now.
Oh yeah, it's like, why would you do such a thing? For me, I have a very tumultuous history with having favorite characters in Mortal Kombat. I think for the longest time, like, overall, the longest period of time I would have agreed with you, Mono, would have been Kuai Liang. But, like, I got Kotal Khan, and Sonya, and Resurrected Hanzo, and Raiden, who I actually cosplayed a couple years ago. It was really, really fun.
Ooh.
There's characters out the wazoo that I genuinely really enjoy. The problem is that there's just so damn many of them. But I will say for my answer on this one, I have been on a bit of a kick with this character lately, and I really, really like Tremor.
Ooh.
Like,
Not who I was expecting.
well, first off, he's a giant rock man, which I'm surprised we have not had in a Mortal Kombat game as a playable character yet. And he's had a hell of a history. For those who don't know, Tremor first appeared in the absolutely god-awful Mortal Kombat Special Forces game, where he was a boss character. He was I think he was one of the first bosses of the game too, and that's the only time in Mortal Kombat history that he shows up in a spin-off game that was worse than Mythology Sub-Zero. It was bad, dude. Do not play Mortal Kombat Special Forces unless you are a masochist. Seriously, it's bad.
At least Mythologies, you can tell that the actors had a lot of fun filming the cutscenes and like being in action again. Special Forces doesn't have that luxury.
Nope. It is just hellacious. And unlike many other obscure characters, like Meat and Chameleon. Yes.
My boy Meat.
Yes, Meat.
I love Meat. Just the concept of him. He's just a dude without skin.
And he apparently knows wrestling somehow. But yeah, like, Meat makes it into Mortal Kombat Armageddon, but Tremor doesn't? Little sus. And then he shows up in Mortal Kombat 9 for the Vita, because the PlayStation Vita version of Mortal Kombat 9 weirdly is the most complete version of the game, because it has an extra challenge tower with a whole bunch of extra challenges, which include alternate skins for the DLC characters, except for Freddy Krueger. Like,
Remember the Vita?
hey, I still have one that's in working condition. It's great. But
Oh, nice.
but there's a whole bunch of features on the Mortal Kombat on MK9 on the Vita, that, like, an AR arena, so you could, like, make an arena out of your living room, and the extra challenges, the skins that were exclusive to the game, and in one of the bonus challenges, you got to play as Tremor. Now, here's the thing about that. Quote-unquote, Tremor was one of the MK Classic Ninja males with smoked stance and Jax's moves, basically. But from that framework comes March 22nd, 2015, which was my birthday. I'm at school. It's lunchtime. I open it up, and the second most hype part of that trailer walks in, and it's fucking Tremor. Tremor walks in, and he is a fully playable character in Mortal Kombat X. He comes out in September, and it is just nuts how creative they got with him. He's throwing gold and crystals and dropping lava on your head. It's like, they just went nuts with this character, and I loved it. And of course, there's the whole concept of him being ex-Black Dragon because Kano fucked him over, and it's like, dude, Where's that game? Where's that movie? Where's Trevor turning against the Black Dragon and working with Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage and Jax, former enemies, in order to stop...
I remember that Combat Pack trailer back in 2015. Like, I'm not sure if they had already revealed that Jason Voorhees was going to be in the game or not, but I specifically remember being over the moon happy that Tanya, Tremor, and Jason were all confirmed in that one, like, 40, 50-second video.
Yep.
It had me extremely excited for Mortal Kombat X.
Oh, dude. Like, well, it was Friday the 13th.
That's right.
Well, Friday the 13th in March of 2015, they officially confirmed it. I just need to double check something. Would that have lined up? It doesn't line up. Sorry, it was the 20th of March, not the 22nd of March. Sorry, but because it was Friday the 13th where they officially revealed Jason Voorhees was coming. Perfect timing, really. And then they released the full Combat Pack trailer on the 20th, which had me screaming because the Predator was confirmed. But Trevor had me super excited too, because it's like, finally, this one super obscure, really cool concept for an MK quote-unquote ninja is finally in the game. Now we just need Chrome and we're set. We'll finally have all the ninjas. Especially if they start putting Takeda in orange, because he really is the orange ninja. But now we got to move on. Matty, you get this next one to start. With 75 characters and a massive hungry fan base of literally millions of people, there's going to be characters that are really popular that you just look at and go, why? Why? Why are you so damn popular? So, who is your most overrated Mortal Kombat character?
I feel bad now, because you said you really like him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, bearing in mind, like, again, I only got into... my experience with this character is MKX and MK11, and that's it. But... Raiden's boring. He's boring. He's a boring old fuck in combat and in personality. And I like him, but he's boring. He's so boring.
To your credit, you did warn that, but like, as much of an idiot as NetherRealm Studios Raiden is, I can't help but love the old man protector of Earthrealm.
Yeah,
like,
if you say old Midway Raiden, yeah, okay, you go crazy. I haven't played the Midway games, but oh man.
But I fully acknowledge that for some weird reason, for like 3 games in a row, they've interpreted Raiden as this incompetent old man, and I both love and hate that at the same time.
I mostly hate it because, like, I don't know, I understand why people hold the sentiment, but I always get really upset when people just kind of dumb down Raiden's character to just being incompetent most of the time, because, like, we know that Raiden is more capable. It's just the writers don't know what to do with Raiden. Like, I think there's a lot of good potential, and this isn't even just in, like, the NetherRealm games. I feel like outside media also has a bit of a problem with writing Raiden, where most of the time Raiden is just on the sidelines because for whatever reason, like, he's not allowed in the tournaments. So people were always like, oh, why didn't Raiden
interfere?
Yeah, like, people always go, oh, why didn't Raiden enter the tournament? He would have won because of the Elder Gods. And also, I don't know, just stop being so mean to Raiden.
I know, like, and that's a sentiment I completely share and understand. I find it funny because if done in a slightly different way, I think the old man that's slightly out of touch with Earthrealm would actually be kind of funny. Like, imagine if he had to have a cell phone explained to him by Cassie Cage.
That'd be fun. I think we deserve scenes like that.
Would pay exorbitant amounts of money to see Cassie Cage teach Raiden TikTok. Like,
yeah, that's the kind of silly old man mentality that I would like to see out of Raiden. Like, he means well. He's a good guy. He's just very out of touch because he never talks to the mortals, whereas Fujin is like the cool, hip uncle who knows what's up and does those silly TikTok dances with Cassie Cage on the weekends. You know what I mean?
I like to imagine with Fujin that, like, Cassie and Jackie kind of show him the emoji section of, like, the keyboard, and then for, like, a week straight, Fujin would only just send, like, emojis out to other people because he just finds it that exciting.
Right? Like, and I can totally see it being like, Raiden is like, we have not had to speak in hieroglyphics in 5,000 years. Stop it.
Have you guys seen that Brian David Gilbert video of like who's the best cuddler in Mortal Kombat?
Yes. I think it was Fujin that one?
Fujin. Yes, because he can create a cuddle session with perfect ventilation.
Well, of course, he is the windy god. Fujin definitely needs more love, and I kind of get your thing with Raiden. The thing is that I'm really glad that Battle of the Realms seems to have Raiden like get off his ass and do shit.
As he should. Let him kick ass, please.
Like I'm not sure if you guys have seen the teaser that they had where Raiden actually did shit. It also shows how fucking strong Kentaro is. So that's two birds with one stone. But like, let's just say that Raiden there's just like so done with people's bullshit. Is like, all right, okay, you know what? People haven't been using me very well. Let me be the Superman of this fucking franchise, and you know, as he should. And I might talk a little more about that later. But for me, I think my most overrated character, and consequently, one of the characters I absolutely do not like, is Kano.
Yeah, I was gonna...
like, okay.
Now, hold on.
Hey, I mean, I defended Raiden, you get to defend Kano. It's only fair.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle real quick.
Yeah, so I'll explain why. The thing is that Kano as a character concept himself is not a bad idea at all. You need kind of a normal criminal for the special forces to chase down, and Kano works really well for that. He's a sleazy, scuzzy bastard that you love to hate, and you know, happens to be the enemies of one of my favorite characters, so there's a little bit of that, but really it's just the issue is that he's just in way too much shit. He was in MK1. He made a cameo in MK2. He was chained up. That's fine. Whatever. He was in the MK3s though. I don't think he was in MK4 because Jarek replaced him. So that's two. So he's in two main sort of game spheres. Then he's in Deadly Alliance, where like they made him steal a lock of Sonya's hair, which is really weird.
Yeah, I thought that was really creepy.
Well, yeah. And then he skips Deception and he's in Armageddon. Okay, so in the original era of NetherRealm games, he's in half of them. He's in MK1, the MK3s, Deadly Alliance, and Armageddon. That's perfect. I liked that about Kano. He shows up periodically, but he wasn't in literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's back for MK9. Okay, that makes sense. It's a reboot, and you have all the classic characters except for Rain who'd become DLC. That makes perfect sense.
And I do like his design in MK9. Like, even if he doesn't really do much for the game itself, like, I liked his design there.
Yeah, like, he was... Like, even when it came to his moves, he felt like an NPC character, which was really weird. But then comes MKX, and I'm like, okay, he's in, I guess... I mean, it's cool to see an older Kano, but it would be really nice that after 25 years, somebody finally offs this guy. And they don't. And then he's back in Mortal Kombat 11. And I'm like, dude, I'm officially sick of you now. Because
That's exactly how I felt.
Like, okay, of the original 7 Mortal Kombat characters, who honestly gives enough of a shit about Kano that you know, he needs to be in every friggin' NetherRealm game? Like, outside, like, I'm going to exclude things like Armageddon and a potential Mortal Kombat Ultimate where everybody's here. That's whatever. That's everybody's supposed to be there. That's fine. But did he really need to have plot relevance for 3 games in a row? Like, why was he even bothered to be pulled in by Kronika? He should be, in my mind, while he's a scoundrel, he should be, like, Kronika should have taken one look at Kano and been like, fuck you, I don't need you, you know?
Like, with Kano, I felt like his entire storyline could have ended at MKX. Like, either Sonya kills him after getting the information she needs, or he's arrested and you don't even see him in MK11. That could have been the direction they went, but since people are afraid of change and NetherRealm are kind of cowards, they decided to go the direction of bringing back as many characters from the original trilogy as they could again. And Kano was one of them, and I felt like his part in the game just was kind of unnecessary, honestly.
Yeah, like, that's, like, I get, like, being afraid to drop one of your iconic villains, sure. Friendly reminder, NetherRealm Studios, your most iconic villain was not playable for 2 games in a row after Armageddon. Shao Kahn shows up in MK9 as a final boss, which is sure, but he's literally like a statue in MKX. You don't have to worry about nostalgia because you can always come back to these people. You know what I mean? It's like I would argue that half a dozen of the newcomers in Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 11, sorry, should not have been there. And Kano is the only one I would say I would not miss if he was dropped. Because literally, what is his deal in being involved in a time travel plot when he is at most inciting civil war in the realms? Also, do you really think that he would trust somebody like Kronika? I don't know. I don't like him. I do not like him, and I wish that he did not show up in MK11. Now, Matty, you were going to say something about Kano.
Oh no, I'm just eating pizza.
I do have an extra thought on Kano. I want to say this is probably going to be a little petty to the Kano fans, at least Kano fans of a specific variety. What the hell do you see in this man that makes you go, yeah, he's hot? What are you seeing? Because in MK11, all I see is just disgusting hygiene and like just disgustingness.
Okay, that is part of it too. I don't know what this idea with making Kano, like, okay, he was a bit of a slob in the movie, and that's probably had something to do with it, but like, pardon the pun, but they cranked that up to 11 for no discernible reason other than he's Kano. You have to hate him, right? So we gotta make him do stuff that you hate. We already hated him in Mortal Kombat X. We already hated him by MK9. He's already a scumbag. You don't need to make him commit. You don't need the. You do not need the.
Things.
You do not need the intro animation public nuisance to make us hate the character.
When I played MK11 and I would get pit up against a Kano player, I would always think, if you have that specific intro equipped, I'm going to kill your Kano.
Right? Like, Kano's got to be classier than that, man. And it's the reason why I never picked up Kano in MK11, because it's like, well, first off, I don't like the character, but second off, man, I'm the kind of person who likes to have, like, the variety of intros and outros involved, and that intro being literally the first intro that you have with Kano, you have to unlock the not-so-gross ones. It's like, why did you?
And I just think in MK11 he looks boring. Like, at least in MKX, I like the aged look he has. He has, like, a bit of, like, a dad bod. He has, like, a receding hairline. He has wrinkles all over his face.
And
his
it's like they made
beard is
him...
now, like, a goatee that's tied up.
I want to know what his fucking skincare program was in the 2 years between MKX and MK11. Like, what the fuck happened there?
Same for Sonya and, like, Jax and Johnny. Like, characters look older in MKX than they do in MK11, and they're all supposed to be 2 years older. I don't get it.
Like, and, okay, with Johnny Cage the man at least has like graying hair on the sides, and he's a Hollywood
Yeah.
actor. He's that level of vain that he would get Botox injections every year to make sure he doesn't wrinkle. Sonya,
Johnny at least looks
though?
like a dad in MK11 though.
Yeah. Sonya though, like I remember when like her face wasn't done, and okay, her face wasn't done. Sure, it could have been polished up, but I genuinely thought it looked better than her old, not like polished face. It was weird because she actually kind of looked like she was in her 50s, and it's like, come on, you could have at least kept that aesthetic. Whatever. Blech. Who's your most overrated character, Mono?
So, since you picked Kano, I decided to pick a character that isn't exactly very popular, but out of all the 3D era characters, this is the one where I'm like, I really don't understand why this specific character is requested so heavily and shows up in all this side media, and it's Reiko. I don't understand why Reiko is so heavily requested when all I'm seeing is a character whose role could easily be taken by any of the trilogy characters that work under Shao Kahn.
Or Kotal Khan,
I'm
who was originally...
I'm on Reiko's wiki page. Reiko is a grim and stoic-looking man with a penchant for brutality. I'm like, fuck this dude already. I hate him.
One sentence, that's all you fucking needed.
Because, like, his character in MK4 is, I want to overthrow Shao Kahn, and then that's really all you get.
Good luck with that, nerd.
And that's the thing. Okay, by this point, Shao Kahn was dead. But it was like, you know what the original twist was for MK4? That Reiko was Shao Kahn. I am not making this up.
And I'm so glad that went nowhere.
Yeah, so it's now just... And now he just, like... In Armageddon, he has, like, a ghost Shao Kahn helmet that he creates when he shoulder tackles people now.
Okay, hang on, wait. Originally, Noob Saibot existed in Reiko's place on the character selection grid for MK4. It was decided that the game had too many ninjas already, which was a subject of complaint from Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Which is really funny, because nowadays it feels like people just want every single ninja.
Also... Where were those motherfuckers in the original Mortal Kombat 3? Kuai Liang was the only traditional ninja on the roster. Scorpion wasn't there, Kitana wasn't there, Melina wasn't there. The only ninjas besides Sub-Zero that were on the roster were the robots.
My man getting the special treatment back in the mid-late 90s.
Like, literally, fun fact, Sub-Zero is the character that makes the most amount of appearances in any Mortal Kombat game, so there's that. But, this is where it gets maddening. They had too few ninjas, now they had too many ninjas. Then they make a character that, okay, I normally really hate doing this, but... Look at Reiko's Mortal Kombat 4 outfit and tell me he's not the Maroon Ninja.
That's exactly what I think that they were trying to invoke.
Like,
With how he looked.
Like, Reiko to me is the ninja that got disowned from the ninja club. Like, Tremor is more of a ninja than Reiko is.
No, you can't come into our treehouse, Reiko. Leave.
and the thing that really irks me about Reiko is that Reiko fans are rare, but one of them was the person that got Sean Hemrick, executive producer for Mortal Kombat X, off of Twitter due to direct and disgusting threats to his wife and daughter.
What the fuck?
Yeah. For those who don't recall, before Mortal Kombat X was released, there was a certain Reiko fan in the fan base that was just being disgusting to people. And then he eventually found the executive producer's Twitter. And I'm not going to go into details because you can probably see where this is going. But he directly threatened his wife and daughter with violence of a specific caliber if Reiko and Noob Saibot were not in Mortal Kombat X. So Sean Hamrick was like, nope, I'm not going to deal with this. You fuckers, I'm out. So he left Twitter in 2015 and hasn't been back since.
That was in 2015. Wow.
Uh-huh.
I expected that to be like MK11 era, where like
nope, this
internet toxicity is more common.
Nope, this was Mortal Kombat X, where while internet toxicity may have been a little bit less common, it was much more vile and much less challenged. So, yeah, this was before MKX was even out at this point in time. So it's like, because of that, I always kind of associate Reiko with that one fan, and it's just like, okay, I understand that you want to get some Mortal Kombat 4 representation, and you can't really do Shinnok, so why do you go with Reiko for the MK 2021 movie, which I have my own problems with, and
Like,
Battle of the Realms?
I mean, Battle of the Realms I can kind of get, because, like, it's another character under Shao Kahn. And Defenders of... or not Defenders of the Realm, what the hell? The 2021 movie, they brought in Reiko, gave him a design that doesn't even look remotely like him.
I thought he was Shao Kahn, like, without the armor, when I saw him in the
It's
trailer.
literally Shao Kahn without the armor, and they dumbed down his personality to being, like, the brute that literally just roars at people, and that's all he gets.
And then he thankfully literally gets clapped by Jax, and I'm like, thanks for that. Although we could probably tear that movie to shreds, for all of the reasons, but you know, we probably should not do that yet because we're on the third point. And the thing I love about Mortal Kombat is that they're not afraid to get crazy with their characters. I mean, we have an Aztec pseudo-god. We have crazy weapons dealers. We literally had a goddamn centaur in one of the games. So, with Mortal Kombat not being afraid to push out the boat and try crazy ideas and concepts, it's surprising to me that some of the concepts that seem a little more obvious than others just kind of get glossed over. So, I'm going to start this one. Which concept has not been used yet that you would like to see in a Mortal Kombat game? And I have several. I did a Facebook post about this years ago where I had like 8 different ideas. But my consistent favorite has been the concept of the Gorgon / Naja style character, the Snake Woman. And there's a couple of reasons for that, but the main ones are that it's a unique body design that as far as I know, no other fighting game character has been yet. There hasn't been a Snake Woman yet. And the possibilities are endless. Like, Gorgons have the ability to freeze people with their stares. You could have Venom play. You could take inspiration from many different kinds of snakes. You could add an archery element to it. There's so much that you could do with a giant woman character that I think should be looked at for a Mortal Kombat game. Now, obviously, Mortal Kombat has a tendency to just use the human body forms because the human body forms are easy. But, you know, if you push the boat out for a Snake Woman in Mortal Kombat 12, I wouldn't be mad.
That could be really fun to explore, especially when I honestly like how every new character in MK11, like, even though some of them were humanoid looking, they weren't normal humans or like Outworlder humans or Edenians. You had a new species, 2 like time-based beings, and then like whatever you want to categorize Cetrion.
An elder goddess who is apparently shorter than Cassie Cage?
Yeah, that's something I never understood, why like all the women in MK11 except for Shiva have like the exact same height and body type.
Which is why I like, there were 2 moments in Mortal Kombat Aftermath I genuinely enjoyed. The moments with Fujin and Nightwolf, I'm gonna lump them all into one, and Fujin Jax as well. And the moment where Shiva chokes out Kotal with her forearms is like, sleep, bitch! I freaking loved that, because it's just like, hey, we get to see Shiva be big and like choke out a giant person. That's fun. But yeah, it's like, okay, Sonya, Cassie, and Jackie being the same-ish height? Sure. I argue the Edenians should be as tall as Scorpion, if not even like pushing towards Kotal Khan's height. And then Cetrion
The
should
thought
be...
of taller Jade is super powerful, just gonna put that out there.
Jade is taller than Kotal, who's the short one now. And then in my mind, personally, I would be super stoked if Cetrion in the game was the tallest character in the game. Like, actively taller than Shao Kahn tall. Like, you could tell. And it's like, why didn't we have that? Why also did we not have Raiden and Shinnok be giants in MKX?
Oh.
We deserve that.
Yeah, we deserve giant peeps. But that's neither here nor there. What kind of concepts do you have an interest in, Mono?
Okay, so this was briefly touched upon in MK9 and seemed to be subtly hinted at being a bigger plot point after MKX, but that never came into fruition. That's the Dream Realm. I want to see that specific section of MK's lore get expanded upon more, because when you have a realm of people, or at least some kind of realm of other beings that can manipulate and affect reality and like people within reality, but also don't really have standard physical forms, I think that would be really interesting to explore. I'll kind of touch a bit upon what I think about the Dream Realm later, but I was kind of upset that with Freddy Krueger and Nightwolf both having endings involving that they never really touched upon it any further since then.
Tremor 2, because remember
Tremor 2.
Because Tremor
That's right.
went there in order to get the bomb to get Shinnok's amulet. And then Sonya's ending is heavily implied to have been influenced by the Dream Realm because Kano becomes fucking Freddy in that ending.
That's right. There's just, it makes me so upset that like the writers changed between MKX and MK11.
Like, could you like I really like the idea of the Dream Realm, and I think what would have been super cool is if we had a dream being kind of like Dream of the Endless but less overpowered, but they have a true form that is not human at all, but they take a humanoid form when they enter combat because, well, gameplay reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I can even see them being like made out of like a shifting, almost stained glass kind of feel, and it's like, dude, where is this character? I know that one of the earliest MK11 quote unquote leaks was talking about a dream goddess, and I'm like, hell fucking low, where the hell was she in this game? I'm sad. You made me sad, Mono. This is
Sorry, but like this is my pain. I'm gonna share it with other people.
This is what you get. This is what you get, people. Cool ideas getting wasted by people is like the worst thing for me. It's like, come on, man!
It just sucks to see wasted potential go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How about you, Matty?
So, with all, like, the various mini-games that they've done over the years, it's weird to me that they did chess before they did, like, a rhythm mini-game, like Guitar Hero or something like that.
Oh, a gameplay concept. Okay. This is not what I expected, but I fully respect that decision. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, like, you could just, it doesn't even have to be like a full library. It's just, it could be like, I don't know, it could be like Test Your Might or something where you open it up and then you do like a rhythm game with various remixes of like the movie theme, and then that earns you coins or something, and then you can spend those coins in the crypt.
Yes, like that, like...
That'd be fun.
It's weird. Like you bring this up, and it's really weird that really Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 11, well, MKX did have Test Your Luck of like the MK9 variety, which was really kind of fun, but MK11 genuinely didn't really have Test Your Luck at all until very recently, and it's not even like fun. I've played the Test Your Luck towers, and it literally is this like your opponents are randomized and your opponents have type resistances. You're playing a Pokemon fighting game, which is cool, but like, oh, Devora is immune to poison type attacks but weak to fire type attacks. Well, what if you're Devora and all of your special moves are poison type and Devora has 3,000 health? and you are locked out of consumables. So you have to like really rack up the augments. My 5,000 HP, basically unkillable Kotal Khan, took 25 minutes to beat the final Sonya boss the first time I went through the Test Your Luck Towers, because she had 10,000 health and was on very hard. And I think she was immune to... I think she resisted physical moves, which is like 90% of the moves in Mortal Kombat X. It's like... Or Mortal Kombat 11. It's like, I literally can only really hurt you if I have the blood totems, but it's not in this variation, and I don't want to change... It was madness. I hated it. Right? It's like... What happened to the side things being fun? Damn it! Like, I'm with you on that one, Matty. And
I literally just ordered Mortal Kombat Armageddon from like an exchange store a couple days ago, just to play Mortal Kombat, like the COD game, like just for that.
I still want Puzzle Combat to make a return. That'd be like the second concept I'd love to see re-explored, because like, I love Tetris, I love Puyo Puyo, I want to see Mortal Kombat's take on like a puzzle game again.
Like, again, if we get this hypothetical Mortal Kombat 30th Anniversary Edition, and it isn't a celebration of all of the franchise's aspects, including silly minigames and bizarre cooking videos with ninjas, bring that shit back.
Please bring those back as like unlockables.
Like Sonya as a lifeguard, Katana peddling golf clubs, Scorpion starring in a cooking show. Come on, people!
Like, they all do, like, I don't know, what are they called, PSAs or something.
Yeah!
So, like, Scorpion does a PSA on forest fires.
Only you can prevent forest fires. And I guess me too. Woof. Like... smoke on the dangers of smoking. It's like, come on. Have fun with your franchise. This is more directed at WB than at NetherRealm. Don't turn Mortal Kombat into a slog for the developers and for the players. You fucks. Alright. Next up, Mono has the first stand. There have been 11 main Mortal Kombat games, if you don't count, like, ultimate versions and whatnot. And, of course, quite a few spin-offs. Shaolin Monks, Special Forces, Mythologies, and all of that. So, I want to know, what is your favorite Mortal Kombat game, and why?
I would have to say that this is a very easy question for me to answer. My favorite Mortal Kombat is Mortal Kombat X for a multitude of reasons. The first being that I just really love the game. Like, it's super fun to play. It's probably the NetherRealm game that I'm still learning new things about. I spent years playing Sub-Zero while I waited for like Injustice 2 and MK11 to release. I had so much fun with the game. Earlier this year, I actually started picking it up a bit more. I haven't played in a while. I went out of my way to try and start learning D'Vorah and Kenshi. And then outside of gameplay, I just love the direction it took the series, even if it was only for that game, where they aged a lot of the mainstays. They brought in new characters. They did a time skip. A lot of my favorite fighting games seem to be like time skips, because Street Fighter 3 is a time skip game with a mostly new cast. Garo Mark of the Wolves, which is related to like Fatal Fury and all of that, is a time skip game with a mostly new cast. I just like that Mortal Kombat did that, and I kind of wish they kept going in that direction, where they just kind of aged up and changed the mainstays while bringing in new characters. I could talk at length about this. There's just a lot I love about Mortal Kombat X, even if I have some like some minor issues with it. But for the most part, it's my favorite Mortal Kombat and one of my favorite fighting games of all time.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's gonna be hard for me because I got multiple different answers for various different reasons. But I'm gonna let Matty go first.
So, mine also MKX, and I played MKX and MK11, but I also played the Injustice games, which, because they were made by NetherRealm, was built on the framework of Mortal Kombat, and, Injustice 2 was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a field test, like a testing ground for new features in MK11.
Yeah.
But MKX was my favorite because it was like the cleanest in terms of gameplay, and MKX, so like Injustice 2 / MK11 and the cluttered gear system and all that.
Oh yeah.
And I think it definitely had the best roster for me. Like, I enjoy the DLC characters for MKX more than I do the DLC characters for MK11.
I would not disagree with you on that.
Honestly, I think, like, I personally wasn't the biggest fan of Leatherface, and I think
yeah,
Alien...
I didn't really play him, but it was nice that they were going for, like, this horror vibe. I think they should have brought Freddy Krueger back for this one.
I think it would have been perfect that they saved Freddy for this game. And I don't hate Alien's inclusion, it's just... that thing was a pain in the ass to fight online, and to this day, I believe the Alien is still one of the most powerful characters in the tier lists.
Yeah. I could talk about how the DLC characters are arguably the best characters on purpose all day, but
Tanya apparently broke MKX for like a few weeks.
I know this from personal experience, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that when I talk about my piece. But with the comparisons between Mortal Kombat and Injustice, like, yes, it's like Injustice is allowed to be more experimental, and then they dial it back for Mortal Kombat. If you notice, like, all the when they brought interactables back in a NetherRealm fight, or in a Midway / NetherRealm fighting game in Injustice, the interactables were broken, dude. Like 20% unblockable combo starters. Are you fucking kidding me? I love that, but still, my god. And then
it doesn't happen to me.
and then you dial it back in MKX, where they still do a lot of damage, but you can at least block all of them now. I'm still a little bit sad that there aren't, like, different tiers of unblockables. Like, I don't think Raiden should be running off of walls. I think he should be taking pieces of the wall and throwing it at you. But then you have, and then Injustice 2 had the gear system, which I think with a little bit of tweaking, like, if they had doubled the storage from 100 to 200 slots if you were level 30 with a character, I think it would have been the best damn thing. It would have helped make my favorite NetherRealm game even better. But I do understand why they were like, yeah, we kind of overdid it. Let's dial it back a bit for MK11. And I do appreciate that they tried that, at least.
Yeah, and with the thing about, like, Raiden, like, jumping off walls, one thing I did appreciate in Injustice 2 was, like, each of the characters were subtly, split up into groups. So there was, like, power characters, and then there were, like, magic characters. I think that was a third one.
Well, gadget
changed the
characters,
way-
that's what it was.
Yeah, and it changed the way they, like, interacted with the environment. So, like, my favorite stage was, my favorite stage in Injustice 2 is the Metropolis Ace of Clubs bar. And in that second, stage, when you, like, get thrown through the bar wall and then, like, yeeted up to the platform, there's, like, a little plaque, and some characters use that plaque as a springboard, others rip the plaque off and throw it, and I think that, and it depends on, like, the type of characters they are. So, like, I think Starfire throws it.
Yeah.
It's got, like, enhanced strength, but Batman just jumps off it.
And there's
I like... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, that has been a thing since Injustice 1, where you have the characters that have, like, there were technically 3 categories in Injustice 1, but really they just kind of, it was just, one of them was just a worse version of the other, so there was really 2. And the 3 categories were Power, Gadget, and Acrobat. So
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I remember Zatanna and Killer Frost were, I believe, the only characters to be labeled Acrobat.
well,
Unless...
officially, but if I'm not mistaken, the Flash is also technically an acrobat character. But in Injustice 1, the power characters would use their super strength, like slam a car on your head or whatever.
Yeah.
The gadget characters could leap off of things, but they could also plant bombs. And all the acrobat characters in Injustice 2 could plant bombs now. So Flash had a bomb, Black Canary had a bomb, Green Arrow had a bomb. Bombs everywhere.
Nightwing in Injustice 1?
Yes, Nightwing is an Injustice 1.
Why is the
You hit a
literal
bomb.
acrobat not labeled acrobat?
Everyone gets a bomb.
Well, the reason why that is because Nightwing was able to place bombs on things, and an acrobat character couldn't. So, because he had that extra functionality, he was classed as a gadget character, but you could argue he was also acrobat. But what really was surprising was that there are four gadget characters, that could use the car interactables on two specific stages, three because there's day and night versions for one of them, in a way that no other character can. Did you know this? In Injustice 1, Batman, the Joker, Deathstroke, and the Flash will grab their opponent and slam them into the car, with Batman, Deathstroke, and the Joker doing it twice for big damage, and the Flash doing it 7 times in rapid succession and getting a combo off of it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I'm a little bit upset that they were just like, Kate, we're going... Like, I get the streamlining for it so that everybody had the bombs, but why couldn't we have the Flash, like, whap you into things multiple times, and have Batman, like, pull an Arkham and, like, grapple you into shit? I don't know. And this leads back to Mortal Kombat because, again, why is Shao Kahn running off of walls? He needs to be throwing pieces of the wall at people. I am upsetty spaghetti. Which is why in Injustice 2, I was so happy to see Raiden, like, slam cars into people. I was like, yes! Thank you! This is why Raiden should have been the MK guest and not Sub-Zero. But, my favorite Mortal Kombat game at the end of the day is also Mortal Kombat X. We're going to get the hat trick on this one.
Yeah.
I will say that Armageddon had the best roster, objectively, because it was the biggest, and while they did have to kind of do some shortcuts and whatnot, I fully understand, because getting 62 on most consoles, 63 on the Wii, different playable characters is scary. But it also had create a character, which they haven't touched since.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
They should bring that back.
Right. So there was that. My first was Mortal Kombat 9, so I have the nostalgia aspect, even though I really don't like the outfits for the women anymore. Like, you gotta understand, when I liked those outfits, I was 14, so you can imagine why I liked them. But, yeah, when MKX rolled around, that's when I was like, oh, wow, like, the ladies could have done so much better for MK9, but that's whatever. Unchained has a soft spot for me because that's Mortal Kombat Deception on the PSP with all the characters unlocked and a couple of bonuses, because it's Mortal Kombat on the go. You can't go wrong with that. But overall, like, for the reasons Mono stated, with the roster being the most unique and the most interesting and the most risky of the Mortal Kombat games that we had in a long time, because there were 2 instances where Mortal Kombat had double-digit new characters, and they were Deadly Alliance and Deception. Mortal Kombat X, to my knowledge, like, if you count guest characters, trumps them both. But if you don't count guest characters, was the closest, because we had 8 new characters at launch. And if you're willing to count him as a new character, Triborg was number 9, and Tremor was 10. So, depending on how you count the DLC, Mortal Kombat X either had the 3rd most or was tied for 2nd place with Deadly Alliance for having the most new characters, which was
24 at launch with 9 additional in DLC.
well, the thing was that I'm talking like Tanya was already in a game and Boraicho was already in a game. Tremor had not been, and Triborg technically wasn't. That's what I mean by new characters. Like, how Cassie made
Alright.
her debut in MKX. You know what I mean?
Oh, like discounting the original characters.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So it's like, it's really funny to me that, like, because variety's the spice of life and new things generally are good, but for some reason in video games, new things are bad.
It's because like nostalgia tends to be pandered to a lot, and people just kind of get accustomed to what they're familiar with. So when what you're familiar with is starting to be phased out or taken away, people will not exactly lose trust, but
they
kind of
they
feel
panic.
discouraged. Like they kind of panic, like where is this person? Where's this? What's like why isn't this here? Sort of thing.
Yeah, and
And it's not even just exclusive to Mortal Kombat.
well, I know because I'm well aware that like for understandable reasons in certain cases, it's just that I remember with Killer Instinct when that came out, TJ Combo wasn't in the first season, and people were like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then they announced him for season 2, and everybody was happy. But like that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
Lego fighting games especially, it's very apparent and common. Like
because
Street Fighter, for example, will always make sure that like a lot of their classic Street Fighter 2 characters are there. And then, like, I don't know, for the longest time, people were like, oh, where's this character? Where's this character? And then they finally got added in. And I don't know, it's just people will latch onto nostalgia really heavily, and it's especially apparent with MK.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help that um, that Mortal Kombat has fallen victim to what I like to call the nostalgia economy, where like the main selling point for the games now is the classic characters, when really it should be the new stuff, where they kind of have to take risks. But it's weird because they have all but 2 of the Mortal Kombat X newcomers having come back. One of them is unpopular, and I'm a little bit sad because I really fucking love Ferritor. But then you exclude
It's such a fun...
Oh wait, no wait, there's 3. But then you exclude Takeda and Kun Jin?
That was baffling. I don't understand.
Like if
I don't understand that at all. Sorry for the cough.
It's okay. But that's just it, right? Like of the combat kidlets, why was Takeda excluded? Like, don't get me wrong, Cassie, at least MKX Cassie was really popular, and while people were really pissed at Full Auto Jackie, it's whatever. Jackie was still a reasonably well-liked character, but Takeda was the king of the combat kids, so we thought he was a damn shoo-in. Nope. Apparently, Noob Saibot was more important than fucking Takeda.
I just will never understand why those two were left
RoboCop was
out.
more important than Takeda. Like, why?
I get that they wanted to backtrack a bit on the whole next generation thing they set up in MKX, but to do it so hard that you get rid of 2 of the big 4 main new characters you introduced, one of which was like the most popular newcomer, arguably, because like, whenever I see people talk about their favorite newcomer from MKX, it's either Takeda, it's either Cassie, or it's Kodal, or in some cases Devora. But like Takeda is so popular, I don't get why they got rid of him. That would have brought so much more positive attention to the game.
Yeah, like, okay, like of the MKX people that did come in, Aaron, Kodal, Cassie, Jackie, and Devora, I would not have minded, personally, and this is just for a personal opinion's sake, if they had, and this is if I had to drop the newcomers, which personally I wouldn't do, but I would have dropped Aaron Black and Jackie Briggs for Takeda and Kujin, personally. Just because Aaron Black was really cool, but I don't mind if he kind of sits a game out and then he comes back and is like, whoa, the Cowboy's back! And of the kidlets, I think Jackie was the least popular. Like she was well liked still. It's just that, somebody had to come in last, so.
I personally would have picked Devora over Jackie, mostly because I think it would have been really cool if Devora had sat out a game after leaving such a big impact
Hit
in
it,
MKX.
hit and disappear, and we're like, who's she gonna kill?
She doesn't show up. People are like, okay, good, our faves are gonna survive for now. And then Devora comes back in the next game, and people are like, oh god, what is she gonna do this time?
I love that the meme of Devora being the classic killer has kind of taken hold. And as much as that gives the character a lot of flack, I genuinely like that she's kind of become this, like, she's like, a classic character's gotta die, it's probably gonna be by Devora's hands, and I just think that's hilarious. But again, that's if I had to replace any of the newcomers. I wouldn't do that. I would have let Jax take a break, because the man deserves it. I would have dropped Kano, because fuck that guy. I would have actually dropped both Cassie and I would have dropped both Johnny and Sonya. Because Sonya could be a supporting character. She's the general. She's too busy to be kicking ass these days. And Johnny's got a new film to shoot, okay? We can have them sit that out if it means that Takeda and Kung Jin and another new character with a really cool concept could come in, and then we could have the new blood actually simmer for once.
I feel like the Combat Kids in general would have been way better received if they had a chance to be in a game without their parents / teachers in a way. Like, I think if Sonya, Johnny, Jax, Kenshi all were sat out a game, which kind of pains me to say because I love Kenshi, I think the Combat Kids would have had more people kind of grow onto them when they have their own space to shine, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Like, if... This is going to sound morbid, but if Sonya had actually stayed dead in Mortal Kombat 11 and was not playable at all, and then it's the Combat Kids meeting the good Liu Kang, because maybe the only experience with Liu Kang they have was the bad guy. They never met the good guy. So, good Liu Kang, good Kitana, good Kung Lao. Like Kung Jin finally getting the chance to be like, this is what my cousin is actually like. That would have been great, but we gotta relegate them to cameos and getting tortured by the Joker and intros, I suppose. This next one's gonna be fun. Matty, you get to start this. As of Mortal Kombat 11's finish, we have had 13 guest characters. Those being Kratos, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Leatherface, Alien, Predator, Spawn, Joker, Rambo, RoboCop, and the Terminator. So that's 11. Sorry, I miscounted. But that's 11 guest characters across the entirety of the Mortal Kombat franchise. Not counting MK versus DC, because that's
a crossover event that doesn't count, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there is still a lot of potential for Mortal Kombat to get really cool guest characters that they haven't yet. And this is the question that Matty yelled at me earlier for.
Yeah.
Which guest character would you have for Mortal Kombat if you had to pick one? Matty?
So, oh god, I just want to take a quick moment and say I love Spawn so much. He became an instant main. Oh, he's so good.
He's the only guest character that I would say I got anywhere near the same amount of enjoyment as I did with Predator. Like, I would say I enjoyed him about as much as I did Jason, and Jason I really did like, but he's still my least favorite of the MKX guests, so it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. So obviously I would have not just Doomguy, who apparently was slated to come in, but alright.
I'll explain that.
Yeah, cool. But like any id Software protagonist, or like maybe an id Software pack, so that's like Doomguy, Quake Guy, BJ Blazkowicz, Ranger Walker, and Not the character of Commander Keen, but I would love like a Commander Keen themed skin for Sonya or Jax.
Two things. I don't know who those last two are.
BJ Blazkowicz is Wolfenstein.
No. Ranger Walker and Commander Keen.
Okay, so Commander Keen was in. I think his game was self-titled. Yeah, Commander Keen is that was like id Software's kid game era, you know. That's like their family title. And then Ranger Walker is Rage.
Okay.
You know, because I've been playing a lot of Rage 2 recently. God, it's so fun. There's not a whole lot to be said about the story, but just like the gameplay of it is so addicting, and like all the sound effects. Oh, I love Rage 2. You know, and also have Jackie Estacado and Sarah Pizzini in a double DLC pack. That's The Darkness and Witchblade from Top Cow Comics. Oh man, they would thrive.
I know The Darkness thanks to the PS3 game of the same name.
Yes. Oh man, I have The Darkness 2 on Steam.
Ooh,
fucking bangs.
Delightful. Okay. So
I'm not too familiar with some of these characters, but at the same time, that's what I think is really special about guest characters, is that they can introduce you to new things or even lure in new players just by the fact that the character is in that game.
That's literally how I got into the Mortal Kombat fandom. When I saw that Kratos was going to be in Mortal Kombat 9, that's why I bought the game. Kratos was in there. I made Kratos exclusively for 6 months before I touched Sub-Zero, who is my first MK character that I actually played. Like that's
Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
MK versus DC was literally my first Mortal Kombat because I saw it in my dad's cabinet and I was like, I can play as the Joker, which I was 12, mind you. And ever since then I was like, oh man, Mortal Kombat's sick as hell actually.
Like, okay. When you cycle through the menus in MK versus DC and like that little build-up of like, it's like, Batman is looking over the city, Scorpion sneaking up on him, Batman spots him, Scorpion throws a spear, Batman deflects it with a batarang, and now they're about to fight. It's like, that was awesome. That looked like something right out of a comic book. And I'm gonna explain Jackie Estacado. How do you say his last name?
Jackie Estacado.
Thank you. I don't know him extremely well because the last time I knew about him was The Darkness from like a long time ago. But basically, he's a mobster who gets killed and then gets brought back from the dead by a dark demonic force. So he's a mobster with guns and stuff, but he also has these 2 sentient shadow tentacles that he can send to attack people, and they eat people's hearts.
Yeah, so he's brought back to life, or was like brought back from mortal wounds, I think, by this force called the Darkness. And whenever Jackie is in shadow, in like the absence of light, he can manifest it and use it to create weapons and things, and also empower his mortal weapons, so like his guns and stuff. And Sarah Pizzini, so there's the Darkness. I'm not gonna get into the whole Darkness lore, but long story short, there's the Darkness and there's the Angelus, and they had a child, and that's the Witchblade, and Sarah has that.
Ooh. And
that's like a kind of wrist gauntlet. It's kind of similar to the Darkness, but it can be used in Darkness or in Light, and it's like a gauntlet that also like expands into armor, and in like everyday life it's disguised as a watch or like a bracelet or whatever it is, whatever the user wants it to be. And I just think they'd have a really cool skill set, because God, the Darkness 2 was such like rampant fun. Like explosions everywhere, very Michael Bay fare, but it works really well. And God, that would be so great.
Oh, that would have been, yeah.
I am just leaning more towards the id Software games, because with the Darkness especially, it's very like shadow themed, and we already have like Smoke and Noob like shadow characters.
Hey, at least they would have been doing shit differently, right? So
yeah.
I totally get that. So before I get to my answer, I would like to explain the Doomguy situation. So So this takes a little bit of precedent. We'll go back to 2015 real quick, or actually let's go back to MK9, where Neo from The Matrix was being considered as a guest character.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Does anyone find that extremely weird? They were gonna have Neo in Mortal Kombat. In Injustice, that works, but Mortal Kombat? I don't think
Doesn't help that, like, I've seen at least 3 or 4 different fake leaks that all said that either Neo or John Wick. So either way, people just really want Keanu in, like, another round game.
I think Keanu
Get
should be in
Keanu Reeves to play
everything.
Kenshi in MK12 then. That's all we need to do. They already made the fucking joke in Mortal Kombat X. You might as well commit. But, anywho. So that happened. Then in Mortal Kombat X, it came out that NetherRealm wanted to do the Terminator, but rights did not work out. So he got into MK11. Then comes Doomguy, where we get the most amount of weirdness, because a few developers revealed that, including former gameplay designer Danish Syed. I think I'm saying his name right. If I'm saying your name wrong, I do apologize. He talked about how Doomguy was a heavily talked about character in the offices of NetherRealm, getting him in the game. We also know that Mortal Kombat and Bethesda talked about wanting to get Doomguy into Mortal Kombat, and they seemed to like really want the idea. So we thought maybe Doomguy was going to be in the game. Hell, I put him in my hypothetical Combat Pack 3 roster list because I was sure he was going to be in if they did a Combat Pack 3, which they did not do for various stupid reasons. But yeah, so Bethesda wanted in on it. The Mortal Kombat devs wanted in on it. A lot of the fans wanted in on it. But WB, as far as I'm aware, were the ones that went, okay, yeah, no, we're not gonna. And we're gonna have you guys work on your next project now. Even though Melina, Rambo, and Rain are basically half-baked.
Reminds me of how Warner Brothers apparently rejected Mick Gordon's request to compose the soundtrack to MK11,
They did!
knowing full well that people fucking love the soundtracks to Doom and Killer Instinct, but they said, no, we don't need you. I still get so bitter over that to this day.
And it's not like WB has not had their fair share of bizarre decisions that they hate. See Barbara Gordon over the last decade. See any weird thing they've been doing with their movies or other properties. It's like, are you people trying to sabotage your own properties? Like, what are you doing?
I just don't get it.
But back to the original topic at hand. Well, we could bash WB all day, but if I had to pick a guest character for Mortal Kombat, that's fucking hard because I already got my dream guest my dream guests in Kratos and the Predator. So it's like, I'm happy. I'm happy. I can live happy with that. But at the same time, there's so many potential guests that I think like could break barriers and milestones and things that they just don't do. Like, they are constantly doing movie characters. Like, the only video game guest character that they did was Kratos. Every single Mortal Kombat guest character has come from a movie since. Jason, Alien, well, except for Spawn, but he came from the comics. So that's that still leads to the point. There's so many sources you could do. You could do Deathstroke. You could do The Bride. You could do any number of people. Fuck, you could do Dracula. He's copyright free. Make your own version of Dracula. Like,
especially if you're not going to do anything with Natara anymore, you might as well try to do something with a vampire.
Just about to say, or you could just bring Natara back. Damn, dude.
Like that's the thing. Natara is another one of those 3D era characters that got a weird amount of love, and I'm like, bring back the vampire chick. Come on, people. Or like,
plus, like, we're in an era where like classical monsters are way more popular than they were originally. If you put in a vampire girl, you'll have people flocking to MK just to see the vampire girl.
Cough, cough, Elisa in Tekken 7, cough, cough.
Yeah,
You fucks.
literally.
Or,
all-
or about other guests. I mean, I know it's never really gonna work, but put M. Bison from Street Fighter in one of these games.
Hell yeah.
Like, could you imagine how fucking terrifying it would be to see M. Bison cut loose and be allowed to dismember people with psycho power? Like, Jesus Christ, man.
I would see Bison v Shao Kahn.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
like imagine for MK12, fucking M. Bison is one of the guest characters. The Hype, or again, Uma Thurman's character from Kill Bill, a blonde chick with a
The Bride. Oh,
again
I'm not a fan of Quentin Tarantino, but like Kill Bill kind of slaps.
right? Like there's
all his movies kind of like, I don't know why, but God, I hate him.
yeah, it's like
I love Pulp
it's-
Fiction though.
yeah, or
But Jules and Vincent and
or who's another very popular badass female guest character that you could do? Oh, I know, Ellen fucking Ripley from Alien. Like,
You have Alien. You gave Jackie the skin that resembles Ripley in MK11. Go the full mile and put in Ripley.
like, and obviously people are gonna be like, she's gonna be a gun character. Okay, as much of a shitty movie as this is, did you fucking see Alien Resurrection? They literally hybridized. Well, I think she was a clone in that movie, but she was a hybridized clone with alien biology. She had claws and the acid blood. You know, you could do something with that doesn't completely suck. Or, you know, bring in the fucking power loader. And by the way, if they do not use the most iconic line she ever said in the movies in an intro, or in a mid-fight line, like, get away from me, you bitch. Like, if that line is not in there and they do Ellen Ripley, I will be very sad. Like, how do you miss the most iconic line that has ever been said by anybody in the last 50 fucking years? But
I want Ripley to say like game over, man.
it's like that could work too for like, she's backed up, she's like, game over, or game over, asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or and let's even like, again, you can think about all kinds of, like, the only real prerequisite you have to have is that you have to have a character that's comfortable with being in an environment where they can be slapped upside the head with their own disembodied arm. That's pretty fucking easy to find because we are a sick set of species that enjoy violence every once in a while. So it's like, bruh, there's so many that you could pick from. And I know we only said we were going to have to do one, but as you can see, it's pretty fucking hard to settle it down to just one. So I'll let Mono take over for this next bit.
So I think it's really funny that you brought up M. Bison, as well as bringing up female guest characters. I put in my notes originally M. Bison or my other choice. So I'm going to go with the other choice, and that is Jury from Street Fighter.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Because I think I mentioned it before that even though I don't think Street Fighter will ever cross over with Mortal Kombat, it is fun to imagine what could happen. I think Jury would fit right into Mortal Kombat's universe, especially with her personality of being this very sadistic person that just likes to run around and cause trouble. I think a character like that would fit in like right at home.
If they did a tag fighter where it's like the Mortal Kombat and the Street Fighter characters kind of get put into teams, kind of like MK, just kind of like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, as terrible as that game was. I could genuinely see the like canon team in the game being Jury Melina.
I would love to see Jury and Melina fight, because like ever since I was 12, I was like, okay, I want to see these pink sadistic girls beat each other up.
Well, That would be fun. That would, like, as much as it'd be like, can't fight, it would be hilarious. It would be a good time. It would be a good time for sure.
Plus, I'd honestly like to see how the American NetherRealm studios would take a character from Japan designed by Japanese people and translate that design into the heavily, like, not American, but, like, westernized design and graphics of, like, a Mortal Kombat game. That's something I've always been kind of intrigued by. Like, I don't know. You'll notice how in some crossovers that some characters are just kind of reinterpreted for, like, whatever country that game is in, if that makes sense. I'd like to see what an American-based design would look for Jury.
I'm very curious too, because like I was gonna say, well, what about Bandai Namco? But I remember that Bandai Namco had fucking Negan from The Walking Dead.
That was still one of the most wild crossovers I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, like, I am still befuddled in a good way of, I'm still befuddled in a good way that they were like, yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have this American baseball-wielding psychopathic gym teacher in a game with martial artists with devil genes and a chick who uses a rocket launcher in her super, and it's just gonna fucking work, and you're going to deal with it.
It's wild to think about Tekken 7's guest characters because you have this martial artist that's extremely powerful that harnesses dark energy. You have a crime boss that can pull out blue waves of energy. You have a teenaged boy from some, like, fantasy kingdom with, like, all this, like, crazy-ass fantasy sword magic stuff he can do. And then you just have this dude from the zombie apocalypse with a baseball bat.
Yeah, and somehow he's the scary one.
And he's somehow, like, the most normal, despite being, like, again, a dude from the zombie apocalypse with a sadistic streak.
Yeah, like, and even then, like a character like Negan, just a crazy man with a baseball bat. They have Brian Fury, which, you know, that guy has my first name, so I naturally have to try and main the asshole. But, like, he's crazy! One of his literal outros is him beating the shit out of your unconscious body. It's like, wow! Great. But that's a really interesting point. And then the reason why I brought up Bandai Namco is that they brought in a Western character into a Japanese audience, and I was going to say, well, what about the opposite? What if Capcom developed the Mortal Kombat characters? But, you know,
I would love to see Mortal Kombat characters in Street Fighter's engine.
Like,
I would love to see how that gets reimagined.
Like, I was very disappointed that the mystery character we got in Street Fighter V is some random guy named Luke. But, like, could you imagine if they actually got Scorpion in Street Fighter V, or Katana, or Sonya? That would be really fucking cool.
That would be.
But, yeah, there's just so much that you could do with the guest idea. Speaking of so much things they could do, the next point is, I'm just going to get right down to it. What do you think is the biggest missed opportunity in a Mortal Kombat thing? And I've got the answer. I've got the first answer to this one. The biggest missed opportunity for me is Mortal Kombat 11 becoming bigger than it became. It deserved, for all of the shit that Mortal Kombat 11 did wrong, it deserved to be bigger. Like, and we know this because it was going to be. In the game's files for over a year, there was evidence of 42 character slots. There were 5 that ended up going unused and removed from the game's code in Mortal Kombat 11, meaning that there were plans up until Aftermath to have 42 characters in Mortal Kombat 11, which I would argue is a good number to be good at, but if they really wanted to, like, say that this is going to be the biggest Mortal Kombat of all time, why stop there? Why not go ham? Go have Tekken's fucking 4-year-long development cycle and have 50, 60, everybody for Mortal Kombat characters. When I did the Combat Pack 3 speculation, because I was confident they were going to do a Combat Pack 3, like, I put choices on there that I don't agree with. Cole Young being one of them. But that's because it was so realistic in my head that I figured it was going to happen. They may as well play it realistic, and they didn't even do that.
I do feel like COVID put like a heavy halt to MK.
I'm fairly confident in that too, but I unfortunately I also wouldn't be surprised at all if it was like if it was just WB saying, "Nope, you're done. Time to move on to the next thing." And
That too. Like, something that kind of bothers me is how Ed Boon lately on Twitter has been like, "Oh, we supported MK11 for 2 years," when in actuality, it's more like you supported MK11 from April 2019 to November 2020,
December was when
or December 2020. My bad, because there has not been any updates since December of last year. Like,
there was one.
there was like a tiny patch, but like it wasn't even like an actual update. It was small enough that you didn't even have to update the game. It just installed itself.
Which was weird because it contained like direct character changes, like health values were changed and frame data was changed. And yet it was so tiny that you didn't have to directly download it?
Yeah. And I don't know, like them announcing in July that the game is over, like development-wise, feels kind of cheap to say that they supported it for 2 years when really the game's support ended last year. I don't know.
Oh yeah, like and even then, they cheated to get that far, because you could say COVID slowed down and maybe stopped some parts of MK11's development, and that would be fair for anything that happened after March of 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why, other than either to pad out time or to try and avoid a crunch allegation, did they space out the DLC characters for Combat Pack 1?
I think they were trying to do that because other fighting games do that. Like Street Fighter V, Tekken 7, other fighting games with season passes, they stretch it out just a bit. And honestly, I think one of the few reasons I was fine with that decision was because I'm used to it. I was fine with Combat Pack 1 being stretched out a bit. I understand why fans of Spawn were pissed off.
And I'm not even mad about that either, because again, if one of the main reasons you did it was to, not crunch, then I'm all for that. Keep doing that. But
it wouldn't burn people out as quickly, I feel.
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't feel like the intentions were entirely genuinely good. I feel like one of the main reasons they spaced it out was they were maybe going to only ever do 12 DLC characters, but they figured if they spaced them out wide enough, they would reach their technical goal, which is just to say we did it for longer than we've done it before, which is 2 years, technically 18 months, but still, and then just say, there we go, we did it, we're done, because they spaced the support out. And that to me screams loophole, grimy lawyer bullshit, on top of the fact that, as you said, for straight up content, there hadn't been anything for 7 months by the time we got the announcement that it was done. Like, I'm genuinely sure that the balance patch that they threw out for, like, May was just to say, hey, we finally we reached our 2-year goal, we can move on to the next thing now. That's what I felt. I don't mean to sound like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, but I genuinely think, at least for that one balance patch, that's what happened.
Part of me also thinks another reason they did that was because Evo is, like, starting this weekend, and I figured that, hey, maybe we should take care of Shiva before we have MK11 at like the biggest fighting game tournament event.
They should,
Especially since it's our last hurrah, more than likely, because I don't see MK11 getting like major tournament coverage
no,
after this.
They should, personally, they should revert Cetrion and Shiva's health back to 1,000 and honestly give Cetrion 1,200 health. I do not care that she's already the best character in the game. She's an elder goddess. She deserves all of the health. Fuck all y'all. But anywho, yeah, that's something I could totally get behind. So it's just, it's weirdly frustrating that it's like, you guys either, like, the spacing out of Combat Pack 1 had to have been intentional. And then the balance patch coming out when it did feels almost conspiracy theory levels of timed, you know? So, I don't know. It's rough for me. How about you, Matty? What's your biggest letdown / missed opportunity for Mortal Kombat?
Oh my god, so many. First of all, bring all the stupid characters back. Like we mentioned Meat, but I want to see Blaze in HD. I want to see Mocap in HD.
Please.
Yes!
Mocap is like one of my favorite joke characters ever.
You know what? You know what?
Yeah.
I would even go a step further and literally just retcon Mocap to be Daniel Piscina. Like, just his face, his voice, it's just Daniel Piscina. Like, that's just who Mocap is. It's just the real Daniel Piscina injected into a Mortal Kombat game. Because that's basically who he was already, so just
Like,
commit.
MK is serious now, and I don't like it. I want MK to be like that kind of perfectly preserved zeitgeist of the 90s and all that, like, the dumb stupidity that comes with it. And, you know, like, I just want it to be a continuation of the dumb movie that came out that was obviously so ridiculous and stupid. But also, like, you know, I'm not gonna spend any time on the minigames. You'll know I want the minigames to come back. And I want actual classic skins. I don't want, like, the high-fidelity basic designs. I want the digitized actors from the original Midway
gosh.
game.
That is
Just,
how...
like, full pixely and
I-
how they appeared.
I will sing the praises of the classic skins if they end up being like that. As you guys know, I do not like the classic skins. I am tired of them. They are so bland, and I really can't stand it, especially considering that there are redesigned versions of the classic skins for the male ninjas that have been there since launch. I have ranted about classic skins plenty, but if they pulled a Virtua Fighter 5 and had them all like shitty quality for modern standards and like weirdly shaded, like they just got plucked out of the arcades, fucking give that to me.
Like,
I would be
don't mind
happy
if
with
they
that.
clean it up a little. So, like, example, the reason I picked the skins is because a few months back I just got done replaying the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy, and for not in the first game, but in Rise and Shadow, they brought back original Lara Croft, and it wasn't like HD, you know, like reboot Lara Croft in like the classic like, no, they brought back polygon Lara just with like, you know, surface reflections and shit and shadows and lighting effects.
Yeah, like that's hilarious. Bring back the
and I want
hilarity.
that.
Hashtag put the comedy back in MK. That's the new hashtag.
And also, probably the biggest missed opportunity is this re-releasing all the original 3 games for modern consoles, or like one big, massively expensive bundle of every MK game to date?
The aforementioned MK anniversary bundle that Mono was talking about.
Yeah.
Please.
Like, I own every single Doom game on PS4. Why can I not do the same for Mortal Kombat? You know?
Or again, the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, which I will say, technically, there is still a chance because it's the 30th anniversary coming up. But, and I'm talking big ol' butts here. I like saying that because it's always funny, but because I am a child. But with the but with if they don't do what you described and have like an anniversary collection for the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat, where it's like, oh, we're gonna have the arcade games, the 3D era games, and Mortal Kombat 9 on one easy to access bundle, because MKX and MK11 are cross-platform and cross-gen, so they don't have to do them. They just have to do up to MK9, or even just up to or even arguably just up to Mortal Kombat Armageddon. But just get those games up in there and just be like, and maybe just tweak the online to make it good or modern. I should say, because the online for Deception and Armageddon was during the days of GameSpy, so probably older than some of the people watching this video. But yeah, like if they don't do it for the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat as a franchise, I think we're gonna have words. Like, yeah, I like all of these because it's like, yeah, of course. What the fuck were you people doing? And another missed opportunity I want to give as an honorable mention: Mono's Dream Realm shout out. I thought that was gonna be at the missed opportunity thing for sure, but I like that it came in earlier. Oh boy, Mono, you get to start the next one. As Matty pointed out, a lot of Mortal Kombat characters are dated. That's part of some of their charm, but other times, what were you doing? What were you thinking behind some of the characters in these games? So, pick a Mortal Kombat character that you want to see either changed a little or completely reworked.
Okay. So I originally was going to pick Serena because I think she is one of the biggest characters I want to see return to the franchise.
I'm going to talk about Serena in a little bit in another question, and Natara too, but we'll get to that.
I instead decided to pick a character that I learned almost made it into MKX, but was scrapped early in development, and that is Kai.
What?
I don't remember where I heard this. I don't know if I saw it on TV Tropes, if I heard it somewhere online, but apparently Kai was planned to be in MKX at one point, and they scrapped him out.
Oh, this is starting to feel like Injustice 2.
I think Kai is a character that can easily be reworked so that he isn't just seen as Liu Kang 2. Because I think it's just really unfair for Kai that he's always compared to a character that he originally was supposed to be like a student of. My idea of reworking Fujin is to make him what Liu Kang is to Raiden, but for Fujin.
I was about to say, did you mean Kai instead of Fujin?
Like, Raiden has Liu Kang, Fujin can have Kai.
Ooh, I like that.
I was thinking Kai could be somewhat reworked with his age as well, kind of reinvented in a way where he's like about his early 30s, slightly older than the combat kids, but not older where around what Liu Kang and Kung Lao would realistically be. I think Mortal Kombat needs to add a dance battler.
Like a capoeira user, or?
Just any sort of fighting style that kind of resembles dancing. I specifically imagine like a capoeira like style for Kai, only because in MK4 he had that weird handstand stance where he could just deliver like a flurry of kicks, and I was like, okay, Eddie Gordo and Christy Montero and Tekken can do like a very similar thing. Why don't we just make Kai like a full-on dance battler?
That's literally what I pictured. I was picturing like, wait, MK had their own version of Eddie Gordo before Eddie Gordo was a thing, and they haven't touched him since?
And I was thinking, since Kai had fireballs, what if maybe with every time he swings his foot around, like in a kick or whatever, there's like a trail of fire, and he can like do things involving fire with his attacks, maybe like, there's some characters in Street Fighter that can kick fireballs. What if Kai could do something similar?
Yeah, I can totally get that. And hell, you know what I would argue? Don't give him fireballs. Give him a different element to use.
That could be fun too. I just think Kai deserves like a chance to be brought up.
Like, the way I see it, if I'm allowed to expand on your Kai-dia, as it were. Raiden is the thunder god, and Liu Kang throws fire. Lightning starts fires. Fujin is the god of wind. Wind is generally associated with heavy storms and rain. So what if Kai was a waterbender?
That could be really fun. I think there could be space for more than one water character. I mean, they have Hydro in like some MK media, like in some of the comics and stuff.
And MK Legacy, where he just gets completely obliterated by fucking Cyrax's Sector.
Yeah. So if they can, I think if Kai were to have water powers, he could easily fit in without being too similar to Rain. Especially since Rain kind of uses his water stuff for more zoning sort of stuff and like keep away and all that kind of like, or not really keep away, but like zoning and combo heavy stuff. Kai could just be full on rushdown.
Yeah, and use water to accentuate things and use water to slide and maybe even coat himself in water so he can slip out of grabs for free.
That could be fun.
Right? Like there's a shitload you can do with water that hasn't been done yet with Rain. So, you know, make that work. I mean, you have Aquaman.
It just makes me upset that Kai almost possibly was in MKX but didn't make the cut.
Yeah. How about you, Matty?
Okay, so I had this question down as 3 characters to skip the next MK game.
Oh, that was the next one, actually.
Oh, so you must have like either I missed this one or I put
I think it was one of the ones that I added after the fact, so I don't blame you for missing this one. That's my bad.
Yeah, that's cool. But to rework, oh man, I gotta think about this now.
Do you want me to go ahead and then we'll come back to you then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sweet. Cause
and then I can like lead on to my answer for the 3 characters one in that.
Yeah, there we go. So there's most of the characters that I feel need to be reworked. Really just need to be expanded. Like, for Havoc. Havoc is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I made a Mortal Kombat X moveset for him because I know what I want out of Havoc, and Havoc is supposed to be just nuts. Like, he has a charge input for one of his special moves in the moveset, and he has a move where he fires a beam that doesn't do any damage unless you push a button to make it hit the opponent. So, like I said, weird shit, but that's pretty easy. Like, okay, well, I want Havoc to be weirder. Okay, we can make Havoc do weirder, no problem. But I think for a character that needs to be reworked, I think a character I would like to see reworked and thus made relevant and good is Kira.
Ooh.
Because
okay.
Kira,
I was not expecting you to say Kira.
well, Kira and Cobra are like the Black Dragon rejects of the Mortal Kombat franchise. Like, as much as people hate Su Hao, I genuinely don't think Su Hao in general is a bad character. Like, it's Ed Boon's least favorite character, and he's a bit of a stereotype. Sure, he could be updated. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Su Hao himself as a concept is a bad character. A Mongolian analog to Kano with a cybernetic heart? Sounds pretty cool to me. But Kira and Cobra, they don't have that. Cobra is a shitty Ken ripoff, and Kira doesn't even have the luxury of ripping off a more famous character. She's just bland. Like, okay, she's cool. She's a red-headed weapon stealer. Can you tell I'm a sucker for redheads? But she could be so much more. Like, the Black Dragon in general have a lot of untapped potential in characters, because we have Tasia the Swordswoman, we have Jarek, we have No-Face the explosives and fire expert. We had Tremor until Mortal Kombat X, who needed some love. So what Kira needs is a gimmick. Like, Kira needs a gimmick that makes her stand out from everybody else, and I think the thing that she should have is a crazy, ridiculous, bizarre weapon that you look at and go, this is stupid and I love it. And I would argue that we should give her what I'm calling the Nunchuck Gun. It's 2 shotgun barrels basically chained together with a gunchuck. Thank you. I'm glad Matty knows what I'm talking about. It's the 2 shotgun barrels with the chain linked together, and she uses these as nunchucks, but she also shoots you.
Oh wow.
So again, or a gun sword or something, you know? So she needs a weapon that is ridiculous but still fits in the Mortal Kombat franchise. And since we're gravitating towards guns, let's get crazy with the guns. You know, like let's have gunchucks and shit like that.
I think it'd be fun just to have some like wacky, crazy weapons here and there.
Yeah, like that would be exactly what... Because Kira in Mortal Kombat Deception just had Kano's butterfly knives, and that was it. Give her a new goddamn gimmick, please.
So, I think I've got my answer. So I want to rework Aaron Black.
Ooh.
Because he is clearly, or at least most likely, based on Deadshot from Injustice 2. Like, I feel they definitely reused some assets at the very least there.
Well, Aaron Black was technically first. He was in MKX.
Yeah, true. But I mean, like, for his, mechanically speaking, in MK11.
Oh, and
Yeah.
some of his other gimmicks, like in MKX, where he would shoot the coin.
Yeah, no, I'm talking, like, on a pure mechanical level for MK11. Aaron Black was definitely, like... I had some reused assets from Deadshot.
Okay.
Which I guess would then mean Deadshot had some reused assets from MKX or whatever. But what I'm thinking of for Aaron Black is that I think Deadshot and Aaron should swap moves, because Aaron is kind of complicated. I don't really want to deal with reloading in the middle of a fight, because everyone gets up pretty quickly. You know? Whereas Deadshot was very clean, it was very simple. You had, like, a couple of smaller damage moves for his wrist guns, and you had, like, obviously, that one big move with his rifle, which you could then meter burn, and his character power had, like, different effects for the bullets, and it was very like, okay, so I want to use explosive bullets, I know these have this damage, and I can just do the same combo, but it'll have a different effect, and I don't really need to mess around with that.
Oh,
And I think
okay.
Aaron Black could definitely be simplified to, like, remove the reloading mechanic, and then just have, like, a bunch of different gun-based moves that do different damage and effects, and then just you decide what's applicable in the moment.
So you would like a little bit of it dialed back to MKX, where...
yeah.
And MKX was also really cool with Aaron Black because they also gave him more shit. Like, he had magic sand grenades and caltrops.
Yeah.
In one variation...
the sand stuff.
In MKX, he had a... he also had, like, a random Tarkatan's arm that he used to stab people, which... That's just such a Chad move.
I would love to see that as, like, a cosmetic, as, like, a kind of bayonet.
Yeah, and then you also have there's also the fact that in MKX his super move was the magic bullet, and
I loved his X-ray. Oh my god, that detail.
And when you described him having something similar to Deadshot's trait, I'm like, what if he's like loading up his rifle or his revolvers with different kinds of magic bullets? And I'm like, my brain exploded. Like, where the fuck was that?
And also with Deadshot, you know, he's got he's got his 2 wrist guns, and then he's got his big assault rifle, and Aaron Black obviously, you know, has his
revolvers
and then the lever action rifle, and I think there's a lot they could work with there.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Like, I would like to see, I want to see for a command, like, he had a command grab where he would tackle you and then shoot you in the face a bunch.
Oh my god, I spam that shit so much. I
But
love that move.
I would like,
love that
I
move.
would like to see him have a parry where he does, like, the revolver ocelot, like, gun trick thing, and if you hit him during that, he will, like, he'll basically do Red Hood's parry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's
Ooh.
exactly what I was thinking. Where he, like, gets the gun spin.
I loved the gun spin.
Yeah. Aaron Black be like, pocket sand! Accurate?
I miss the sand stuff. Like, the fatality where he just throws the sand bomb inside of, like, a hole in your stomach and then shoots it, and you
Yeah.
literally just fill up with sand. It's so dumb, but so good at the same time.
And then his second fatality was not bad either. It's like he was a walking firing squad. So
Yeah.
I'm totally behind, like, make Aaron like take away the reloading and let Aaron Black have more of his magic shit.
Yeah.
Also-
and I think also,
Also,
oh,
don't
sorry,
have I was going to say, don't have him steal Reptile Spit. Bring back the Caltrops, you cowards.
and I think also, it should also, Aaron Black should also take inspiration from, Ash in Overwatch with, like, the dynamite. He should have, like,
That'd be
one of
so
those.
fun.
Yeah, I think he should have one of those thrown ability moves where you can do like one close, one far, and like one very far, and you can like throw the dynamite and shoot it, and that'll create like, or you can do like a one up, and you can shoot it, and it'll create like an explosion with knockback or whatever.
Ah, so he shoots the dynamite to make it go boom, instead of having to wait for the fuse to go off and inevitably blowing himself
And
up.
like, yeah, and he could also wait for the fuse to go, and it could be like a ground projectile.
Ah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I also miss his trick shot stance from MKX, because I've been playing that a lot lately. By the way, that's part of the reason why I've been enjoying the hell out of Leatherface, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Leatherface, like, with 3 bars, can take away, like, 2/3 of your health in a single combo. It's a little bit...
Yeah. I had to suffer that online at one point.
Yeah, like, in one full combo with an unblockable attachment and 3 bars, he could take away 66% of your health. It's just like, I love that, but that's also a lot. Holy fuck. When did you turn into Solomon Grundy? Yeah, I totally agree. So Matty gets to start the next one, and as he noted, we get these characters that show up on a very regular basis, and people get mad when they miss out on a game. But honestly, it's bound to happen. So what 3 characters would you like to skip the next Mortal Kombat game?
So I want to get this one out of the way right now. I do not want Cole Young to come into MK12 because I know the movie was set up just to put him in. I know it. Leave him out of the games. I don't want him.
Him and his weird half-baked Black Panther armor.
Put his kid in the game. That'd be funny.
Have this
Oh my
little
gosh.
7-year-old run up and punch Scorpion in the nuts. There we go.
Hey man, little girls are vicious. But yeah, I don't hate Cole Young as much as I did when like the movie was just coming out, but I still think he's a stupid concept. I think it should have been like, I don't know, a soft reboot of like Liu Kang, because in the 90s movie he was like traveling around New York or wherever it was. I think it should have just done that. But anyway, Cole Young, again, sorry Brian, but Raiden, we can leave him.
Wow, you're just out to hurt my feelings today, aren't you?
I mean, I wouldn't mind Raiden, like, showing up, but I wouldn't want him to be playable, because, like, that's a slot on the roster we could use for someone else, like Kai, like Nitara, like Cetrion, you know what I mean?
Alright. Sorry.
I don't... Garrus is, like, currently forever sinking in that big blood sea. Isn't he?
Unfortunately.
Unless that one intro of Scorpion is true, and he does end up getting eaten. So.
Oh, well, rip to him then.
How many
I was
times
trying
does
to
it snow?
remember if he was like, if he got out or if he was still sinking.
No, he didn't get out.
Yeah. And also Devora, but not because I don't like her. I don't like bugs.
That is completely valid as someone who really likes Devora. I understand entirely.
No, I get you too. Like, I'm glad that they're really leaning into the really spooky, like, aspect of
Yeah.
her being an insect woman. But at
They
the same
made her
time,
more gross in MK11, and that's what I really
Yeah, they
like.
made her fucked up.
yeah, and I'm not saying that that's bad. I really like that, but I don't blame you if you looked at her and was like, and were like, can we not have her come in again? Because you would be genuinely afraid that an MK12 that, because they love to push the envelope, they love to expand things. You really don't want to see what kind of crazy fucked up gross shit they can do with insects, because there's a lot. As somebody who has casually studied entomology, it's like, nah.
Yeah.
So many fucked up parasitic wasp things and mind control and Could you imagine like Devora, like, I don't know, just for the sake of argument, like sticking one of her weird freaky bug needles into the back of, like, hand needles, not the ovipositors, but like one of her freaky hand needles into the back of Cassie's head, and then it like fills her with brain bugs that turns her into like basically a zombie who just obeys Devora and protects Devora's babies. That would be very unsettling.
Yeah.
I would like to see, like a similar thing to Raiden, where I wouldn't like cut her out of the game completely. I'd still have her show up in the story, just not in gameplay, because again, that's a slot that could be used for someone who should maybe get a bit more appearance. But I would like to see a story where it's like Devora has essentially become the Flood from Halo.
Yep.
Or like the Infestation from Warframe or something. I want space bugs now. We've done other dimensions. I need Mortal Kombat to go to space.
Well, funny you should mention that. In the original lore, and actually this is partially referenced in one of the songs from the Mortal Kombat album that the Immortals did, because there's more than just the Mortal Kombat theme. There's themes for every character except for Shang Tsung, and one of them is Goro. And it mentions, and I quote, that Goro is from a distant planet.
Oh.
So, at least in the original timeline, the different realms were seen as different planets, which makes Shao Kahn an alien.
Interesting development, to say the least.
Yeah, like, if you ever get the chance, listen to... In fact, I'm going to link it right now in the chat, because this is too good to pass up. Because the song's also genuinely really good. Let's see. Just find it real quick. Hopefully, like, I typed it in right and I'm not going to get a whole bunch of Goro combo videos. Because, well, those are good. That's not what I'm looking for right now. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. It's not even just from the archive. Like, I downloaded the full album. I downloaded the full album and I have it on my phone. So I heard this and I was like, dude, what? You're calling Goro a fucking alien in this song? Well, shit. Since Matty brought it up, now we need to bring back that old chestnut. Come on, now. So for me, was it my turn? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
3 characters to skip the next Mortal Kombat game. You already know one of them is Kano. I'm not going to explain why, just fuck Kano. But I figure I'm going to explain Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade.
That's fair.
Now, let me preface this by saying, I fucking love Sonya Blade. Sonya, that Trisha Helbig as Sonya was...
Helfer.
Or Helfer. Thank you. Either way, national treasure, that chick. But, I could stand to see her miss a game, because she hasn't missed a game in a little while. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't like that, that literally at one point in time, more than 10% of the Mortal Kombat 11 roster was the Cage family. That's just too much Cage. And you have Cassie right fucking there as both a Johnny Cage and a Sonya Blade replacement. I know people aren't going to be happy when I say that, but as a replacement, and I adamantly, vehemently would be excited to see a lot of the old heads go. Kenshi goes off on an adventure, Sonya's dead or focus on general work, Johnny's busy with a movie, whatever. Point is, get the old guys out, let the new kids have their fun, and bring back some 3D era characters while you're at it. K thanks, bye. Like, I want Cassie, especially MKX Cassie, because I genuinely think MKX Cassie is the best Cassie, to kind of poke fun at Natara and call her the uber goth vampire chick. I'm just waiting for that to happen.
I wouldn't mind. It's probably never gonna happen because he's like the poster boy of Mortal Kombat. But I wouldn't mind Scorpion missing a game or two.
Well, he missed one game in Mortal Kombat 3,
Yeah.
and everybody lost their shit.
Yeah, like I said, it'll probably never happen. But
But you know
I
what?
wouldn't mind miss them.
Give
Like,
Scorpion a
'cause they just-
vacation.
What they did is very clever, and also very lazy with Scorpion. Is like,
They just reverted
obviously
him back to how he was.
yeah, it's like all the character growth that Scorpion had. That Scorpion is dead now, and they just brought back like regular angry Scorpion. And it's I say it's clever because now this Scorpion is in a place where he's faced with the reality that, you know, he did forgive Kuai Lang and Bihan, and all that's been resolved already. So he's now in this weird position of like, well, where do I go from here if my vengeance didn't pan out? And, you know, I think there's something to that. I think there's a lot of potential they could get there, but they're probably just gonna be like, nah, he's the vengeance boy. He gets his vengeance.
The $5 word turned into a 50-cent word.
Oh yeah, and then, so, like from a narrative perspective, I could probably let Scorpion go for a little bit, because it's like, he's just off. I would honestly just like it if it was waved away that he was just talking with Kuai Liang for a whole game, just off screen. They're just having a conversation.
Give the man a rest. He's been through so much. He let him, like, I don't know if I would personally keep him out of a roster, but like the idea of Hanzo just finally getting a chance to relax after all the
Honestly,
trauma.
Same
My
with
favorite
Jax.
scene,
Same with
my favorite
Jax.
scene in MKX was when they're just like having tea,
Literally.
and then
It's-
Frost has to come in and fuck it up.
Well, that's because Frost just is
Frost is Frost, and she's gonna Frost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
that is, by the way, I genuinely think that what they did with Frost in Mortal Kombat 11 was the best thing that they could have done to the character.
Yeah. Oh, she's like one of my mains. I love her so much.
Like I know a lot of Frost people don't like it when I say this, because I know a couple of Frost mains that are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, look, what was she doing before this? She was an angry teenage / young adult female Sub-Zero who never went anywhere. She got super pissed at Sub-Zero, stole his medallion, got frozen. Kuai Liang thought she was dead, so he honorably buried her in the tomb of his ancestors, only for Frost to wake up, think that Sub-Zero doesn't care about her anymore, and snap, basically, and basically go insane. That's all she did in the old timeline. And in the new timeline, she gets the shit beat out of her by Cassie in the Octagon, and gets frozen by Sub-Zero in a 5-second cameo.
I just think with Frost, it would have been really cool, literally, if they went in a, like, MMA direction. Like, what if they took... Here's a philosophy I like to have regarding Sub-Zero and Frost. Sub-Zero is way more mature and wise in how he uses his powers and has a more, not exactly defensive, but patient playstyle. While Frost, I kind of see her as like, oh, I need to beat something up to get this like energy out of me, sort of type. I was like, oh, what if she's just an extremely aggressive MMA fighter, but she uses ice in her abilities?
See, that would be genuinely cool, and I do like that they also kind of implemented one thing about it. Like, Kuai Liang was cyberized once, and he said never again. Frost hears about cyberization and is like, fuck yeah, it pisses off Sub-Zero and it makes me more powerful, I'm fucking in.
You don't understand, Sub-Zero. I want to remind you of your trauma so I can be cooler.
Exactly. That's literally
also,
her, the character.
It's also very funny, because it's like Sub-Zero is like the very traditional classic ice ninja, and then, you know, Frost is like the ice ninja for the new technological age, and it has this very like old Cloud feel. Oh man. I love Frost so much.
Yeah, I fully am with you on that one. And how about you, Mono?
So earlier I wasn't able to list out like a missed opportunity from MK, but however, I do think it works really perfectly with what I'm going to say for this specific question. That missed opportunity was not following up on plot lines that were introduced in MKX, and one of those plot lines is the new generation. I think, like I said earlier, the Combat Kids deserve to have a game by themselves. And you already mentioned leaving out Sonya and Johnny, and I agree with that. I think Johnny, after, you know, getting... give me a sec to try to think of how I'm supposed to phrase this. After he, I don't know if rekindled is the right word, got on better terms with Sonya, I would like to think that after that point, he pretty much retires from combat entirely to focus on movies. Sonya can continue working behind the scenes, kind of giving like calls to Cassie and kind of telling her what she needs to do, like a behind the scenes figure, but not a legitimate playable character. The third I wanted to pick was Jax, because Mortal Kombat 11 took what I thought was a finished character arc for Jax and kind of uprooted it and made it even worse. I think with MKX, or Jax at the end of MKX, he should accept that his daughter wants to be a part of the Special Forces, and that she is capable, she can hold her own, and that they are two completely different people. I think Jax is allowed to worry about Jackie, of course, but I don't want to see Jax work with a villain that wants to reset time and have Jax essentially try to keep his daughter a housewife just so that he doesn't have to worry about her. I think instead Jax should just retire and just peacefully still have like a rebuilding his relationship with Jackie off screen. I think that would be the best way to kind of have these three characters written off, but not have them killed off or anything like that. I just think they should be at the sidelines. I think the Combat Kids should get their spotlight without their parents. I think that's the best way for people to like them more, and I think it's the best way they could have followed up on MKX.
Yeah, I could totally get behind that. That's part of the reason why I'm like, get Johnny, get Sonya, get Kano out of here. Like Jax could definitely also go, but I could only pick 3, and like there is no fucking way I'm missing an opportunity to drop kick Kano off a roster. So sorry.
Oh yeah, Kano I would absolutely take out as well. It's just like, I think he doesn't have a canonical kid, unlike the other three.
Well, unless you want to believe the rumors for the original Mortal Kombat 11, where Dominic was a thing. Also, but I mean, is Kano really gonna name his kid Dominic? He's the son of Kano. That's torture enough. No offense to no offense to any of the Dominics out there, but if you know, you know. But anyhow, next up, this is gonna be fun. Mono gets to start this one, I think. Yes, Mono starts this one.
Okay.
We, as Mortal Kombat fans, and I think as most fans generally do, love our headcanons. Can't help it. If it doesn't hurt anybody or anything, headcanons are fantastic. I mean, for shit's sakes, I headcanon that Babs modified a car so that she would be able to drive it herself. With her wheelchair acting as the driver's seat, and she's using the steering wheel as the pedals as well. You know what I mean? Like, as Oracle, I imagine she'd be independent enough to find a way to be able to drive on her own. But with Mortal Kombat, the headcanons get particularly fun because we're used to seeing the Mortal Kombat characters beat the shit out of each other, and we never stop to think, would any of them get high? Would any of them enjoy a nice drink on the weekend? Would any of them play video games? You know? So that's where it gets fun. So, with Mono starting us off, give us 3 headcanons for the Mortal Kombat universe. Characters, lore, whatever.
Alright, so both of these kind of have this, like, I have a couple I'll bring up. This specific one involves 2 different groups. I like to think that both of Shao Kahn's, like, underlings, for example, like Baraka, Reptile, Ermac, and a good chunk of the Black Dragon members that we know, Cobra, Kira, Cabal, Tremor, they all hate Shao Kahn and Kano respectively, but they never outwardly say it. I like to think that the Black Dragon members will all just shit-talk Kano and mock his accent and mock the way he, like, acts and dresses and the way he smells. They just hate Kano and have no reason to respect him, and they deliver, like, they just hate Kano.
So they have like everybody in the Black Dragon except for Kano because he's not invited have these weekend sessions where they just drink and play cards and shit talk Kano. I can
absolutely see it. And as for, like, Shao Kahn's group, I mostly see a lot of, like, some of these members, like Baraka and Reptile, I see them working for Shao Kahn, not because they genuinely idolize Shao Kahn, but more like, hey, this guy's a complete and utter piece of shit, but our races are getting benefited if we work for him for the time being.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe if someday we can get even better out of this. I don't think they would be on the same level as, like, the Black Dragon, but they definitely hate Shao Kahn behind, like, closed doors.
Oh yeah, like I could see Reptile passing along, like, dirty little secrets of Shao Kahn to, like, Baraka and the others, and then Baraka and his tribe, while they're munching on people, are like, hey, did you hear Shao Kahn plays mini golf on the weekends? Ha 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 ha, or something. I don't know why mini golf was the first thing that came to my mind, but I'm sorry to the fans of mini golf. Mini golf is actually fun, but, you know, I had to think of something.
My second one is based off what I think, like, I personally like to think what the writers were going to do with Jade originally after MKX. I think that they were going to involve her in the Dream Realm. I think that they were going to give her Dream Realm magic.
Ooh.
And I like to imagine that if she had that Dream Realm magic, she would be either the sole figure or a major player in the Revenants getting restored.
Ooh, I like that.
It would give Jade some agency. It would give Jade an opportunity to not have to play around someone else. I think it would make Jade a bit more independent.
And we know that, but it also plays into the fact that she would also be like, hey, my sister got revenanted. That ain't cool.
Like, I think she would still hold resentment towards Raiden, but at the same time, there's more important things to do here. She wants to help Katana and Sindel and all the other Revenants get restored, because in the short time she was a Revenant, she knew how bad it was. These like remaining revenants are getting further corrupted without any sort of influence, and they're just like suffering for it. Katana is extremely bitter and depressed. Like you can tell that woman is extremely bitter and done in MKX, but she literally can't do anything about it because she's stuck as a revenant.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then for my final headcanon, this one might be controversial, not for you guys here, but like in the grander fan base. I like to imagine that Kuai Liang is a gay man. I feel like there's a lot to his character that helps kind of make me reach that idea. There's the fact that unless you want to count Serena, but even then I never really saw much romantic stuff between them. I saw
that was Bihan's whole thing. Bihan is Serena's bitch.
Yeah, because like I see some people say that like both Sub-Zeros had romantic tension with Serena. I don't see it for Kawhi's perspective. I like to think of it more as, hey, you're the more heroic younger brother of the man who saved my life. We should be friends and work together to try to restore Bihan. There's the fact that he's never had any like actual love interest. There's a lot of people like to point at him and Frost having like a father-daughter dynamic in a way that I also really like to see. And I don't know, I guess it's all mostly subtext. There are multiple times where women will flirt with him in intros and he'll just downright deny it. And it's not even just in cases where it's like Poison Ivy or Scarlet where you know, hey, maybe don't accept their offer. Starfire, of all characters, hits on him in Injustice 2, and he's like, no, romance really isn't my thing. I kind of see that as like either he's closeted and just doesn't have any interest in romance, or he's not attracted to women. This is all just kind of subtext and not like definitive or like set in stone or anything. But that's just kind of how I like to view Sub-Zero.
I like I have an honorable mention for this one. Even though it kind of goes against one of the AUs I spent literally 7 years of my life, 7, 8, something along those lines, almost a decade of my life working on. But I want to just quickly interject that I think it's entirely possible that Kuai Liang is asexual and aromantic.
That could also work. I don't know. I just like to imagine that Sub-Zero just is not straight.
Yeah, like I picture Sub-Zero if he's at all somewhere on the LGBTQ plus spectrum is ace in both contexts. Like he understands why Scorpion loves his wife and kid and the thing that Johnny and Sonya have going on, and he's just like, I just don't get that. I just don't feel that for anybody.
It's not his thing. I also kind of view him as married to the job in a way.
Yeah, definitely. That I almost certainly think that's the case. Like that man needs a vacation, even if he doesn't want it.
He focuses really hard on defending Earth and teaching his students that sort of thing just doesn't really cross his mind. He doesn't see it as urgent.
Yeah, at all, really. Anywho, sorry, I woke up pretty early and didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I'm a sleepy boy. But Matty.
Yeah, before I get into my headcanons, I just want to say I found my original Who Would You Rework on Scissor at the bottom of the document for some reason.
Frost?
Anyway. What's that?
Oh. Who did you find? I'm curious.
Oh, I actually had down Scarlet. Could use a bit more variety in her moveset, I feel like.
Okay, like a little more blood magic stuff that she does. I do like...
Yeah, aesthetically speaking, a bit more flair, a bit more...
I wish... The one thing I really want to see with Scarlet that I think would help with that is that... Did you guys ever play or watch anything for the Legacy of Kain series?
I know about it.
There's one of the things that you can do in the game is that you have the ability to telekinetically suck blood out of people's body and into your mouth to fill your blood meter. And I think what would be really cool is that, you know how she has that blood trance move?
Yeah, the blood ball.
No, not the blood ball. The trance where she grabs you and then pulls you in by your blood.
Oh, yeah, that move.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine if that had a brutality where she does it, but she pulls all your blood out and then just literally soaks herself in it.
Oh, wow.
Like that would be the spice that I think she needs, because I fucking love what they did with Scarlet at MK11. She's a super rush down, like crazy, like I will take away literally half of your life on block and be able to spend 4 bars, even though the maximum amount of bars you get in that game is 3 because of chip damage and projectile nonsense. But it's like, but at the same time, it's just like I really just prefer her being more of a blood witch and all of that sort of thing. But anywho,
Yeah, headcanons. Okay, so, the first one I have is I think, to this day, Jack still forgets how strong he is. And, like, whenever he's getting out of a Humvee, he, like, shatters the window when he closes the door or something. Or, like, he's snacking on an apple and he just crushes it.
it's like, God damn it! I made these things too damn strong.
My second one is that I think Aaron Black hates Western movies. There's like maybe 2 ones that he can tolerate, but on the whole, yeah, they're not for him. I don't have anything for what he would like, but I just, like, oh,
Like he'd be like,
I love the
who's
thing
this
of like, I'm going to be a cowboy in concept, and not in practice.
Yeah, it's like it's like he's watching a Clint Eastwood or John Wayne movie, and it's like, who are these motherfuckers? They don't know what the hell they're doing.
I can just imagine him just, like, pointing a gun at one of the comic kids and saying, if you compare me to that toy, the cowboy from Toy Story, I will gut you.
You know what? I think Woody's the only cowboy he likes. And my third one, I'm just gonna, like, I didn't have, like, super detailed headcanons for this, but my third one is that I think Nitara can not only speak English perfectly well, but she also sounds very posh and eloquent, and she got teased for this, so she just kind of resorted to screeching at people.
But then when you get to know her and she speaks, she sounds like the classiest,
Yeah.
gentle lady in the room.
Yeah.
That would be really sweet too, because then because I've seen the ship between Scarlet and Natara before, and I think it'd be, because first off, Beta Pozdziak, I get Polish is hard.
Yeah.
I just want to preface this by
Yeah.
saying that Polish is hard, but the chick that they got for Scarlet as a voice actress, holy fuck, that was brilliant. Like, she really sells Scarlet as a character, and I love her voice, and it's just fantastic. So picturing like her, and then just for shiggles, we get Meryl Streep to voice Natara, and then they're talking to each other.
Oh man.
Like my heart would
gosh.
just melt from that for all of the
Honestly,
reasons.
any character that just like communicates mostly in noises, they're gonna be voiced by Steve Bloom. Let's be honest.
Oh my god! It's like Steve Bloom voices Natara in MK12. Are you guys high? Like, at least get Jennifer Hale to do it.
Oh yeah, also true.
I just love the idea of Natara waking up one day and going, you know what? I'm tired of being nice. I'm just going to start screeching at people.
And I have the power to
Are
do
you
that,
tired of
and
being nice?
fuck
Don't you
all
wanna
y'all.
go ape shit? I feel like it's not that she learned how to scream, because she's still like half bat. So I think like she could already scream. She just made the decision to only scream.
Like, I will scream at anybody who I do not trust, because fuck you assholes. I love it. My 3 headcanons. Oh man. I headcanon, first off, that Jax is secretly a massive nerd. Like,
I would love that.
well, like, because we know he plays the big, tough, macho man asshole, but I have evidence that he's at least tech savvy, because he schools Takeda in tech talk in an intro, and we know Takeda's supposed to be kind of the quirky, nerdy guy. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that underneath that rough and gruff exterior, Jax is just a big fucking nerd, and he's just a
Yeah.
big gruff nerd, and I don't know. I could picture like if the Combat Kids do D&D weekends, that he's the dungeon master, and he just walks in dead serious, like dead serious. All right, kids, I'm gonna show you how it's done. But he's wearing like a wizard hat and has like a corncob pipe,
Gosh.
and he's
Yeah.
just and like Jackie's just giggling, and Cassie's like, "What the fuck is your dad wearing?"
I could totally
Don't
see
judge,
Jax.
Cat. Oh,
Oh, and I'm gonna get to that. But yeah,
I was gonna say that, like, I could totally see Jax having like a Civil War reenactment table, like a model in his basement. He's
Oh
like,
my God.
Oh, he
that-
would, oh that and like of all of the nerddoms that he has, it's genuinely like he's a big war slash
Yeah.
national history nerd. Like American
I bet he
history is
plays
his fucking
Warhammer, too.
jam.
Yeah.
I like to imagine that there was like a show Jackie would watch a lot when she was like younger that she unironically managed to get Jax into as well. And Jax will not openly admit it that he likes the show to anyone other than Jackie and Vera.
Let's make it
And I-
Steven. Let's make it Steven Universe just for fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think like for Jackie it would be like Steven Universe, and then for I don't know, for Jax, who was like very much a product of the '90s, I think it would be like He-Man or something.
Gargoyles. No. It's fucking gargoyles.
But,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
please, can we just have like can we
Jax
get,
and
like,
Jackie
old
watching Gargoyle.
man- I know we've got like kind of old man Jax. Can we please get like old man Jax voiced by Keith David?
Oh my gosh. That would be perfect because Keith David voices Captain Anderson in Mass Effect, and that's just like the
Oh,
thing.
I
That's
was
what
gonna
I'm
say
thinking of.
Spawn, who is in
And Spawn. Yep. That's where I thought this was
I
going.
mean, yeah, I know like his biggest role is Spawn, but when I think of like old Jax, it's just like it
Yeah.
reminds me of how he
Captain
voiced
Anderson very much.
Captain Anderson, and just like seeing the old soldier, the archetype for him again would just be really cool.
Absolutely. I have a fun one for Cassie. I think, at least with MKX Cassie, which in my head is still the definitive Cassie, when she's doing like her filters and her photo shoots and, you know, just being a Hollywood influencer type, whatever. Maybe she has a YouTube channel where she does workouts or whatever. But I like to think that she always very subtly hides the lesbian flag somewhere as like a little subtle hint. Like maybe she has the lesbian flag as a filter in one of her photos, or she's wearing the lesbian flag as a pin on her jacket during workouts or whatever. Like just little subtle hints like that, you know, she doesn't, that, you know, she plays for the home team.
Hmm. I
Because,
think that'd be cute.
because I totally imagine that at least MKX Cassie is like a lesbian.
Oh, I
Go ahead.
after like seeing so many people's like different posts and theories and like different ship art, I can definitely see, and I think it would be really cool if they actually did went that direction with Cassie.
Oh yeah, I think it would be super duper cool. Oh, and here's my headcanon. Here's the headcanon I think might be a little bit touchy, but I think would actually be really fun. So, Boraicho. We know he is a drunken asshole, but we also know that he can hold his liquor, right? I think that the only person in all of the Mortal Kombat roster that's been playable, so in all of the seen Mortal Kombat universe, who has been able to outdrink and thus outlast Boraicho when it comes to drink, is Fujin.
That would be great.
And as an extension, Raiden is a total lightweight. Can't handle his booze, can't handle his pot, can't handle any of that. He's like I imagine that if any of the combat kids were like into the stoner culture, like I imagine Cassie might be at least a little. I could see like and she offers a joint to Raiden. Raiden just gets high as a fucking kite for no discernible reason other than he just can't handle it. Right? And and as an extension to that, I can see Cassie being a bit of a stoner and her kind of getting it from Johnny, because I picture Johnny like Johnny's a product of Hollywood in the 80s and 90s. He would have at least been around drugs, but I don't think he would have like gotten into the drugs, say for like pot. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Right? Like, and I know that's why it's a little bit touchy for some people, and trust me, I understand. I had an uncle that was addicted to coke. It's not pleasant, but with pot, you know, it's a completely different animal. It's much nicer.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Johnny would have like grown up around like the DARE program.
yeah, and all of that sort of thing. But yeah, I picture like Fujin being like the ultimate party animal by extension of being able to hold his drink better than fucking Boraicho. So those are my 3 headcanons. Yay! We get to do a new segment, and Mono's here for the first time for it.
Ooh.
So in the comics section, in the comics cast that we did with Judge and Matty, I think Fishbowl missed out on this one, but I introduced a new returning segment that's going to be a returning segment called The Hot Take. And
Yes, I'm preparing myself for this.
and how the hot take works is that you supply a take, and then we rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is frozen, like, duh, obviously. 2 is cold, like, if you're surprised by this, we're more surprised about that than we are by this take. Number 3, lukewarm. All right, that's a curious take. I could look into that, or we'll call it a warm take. Then it's the hot take is a 4, and it's like, wow, that's surprising. 5 is scorching hot. It's like, whoa, what? Like, I don't know, like, just as an example for a level 5 take, Kano should be shipped with Sonya. Like, that's a bad take, but that's a spicy take too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but these have to be your takes. You're not aiming for the highest score. You're aiming for what is your truest take. And then with a little bit of, well, I think this is surprising. How surprising do you guys think it is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Matty, since you have done it before and it's not my turn, what's your MK take?
Okay, so I am so fucking sick of the Towers of Time and the Crypt. I heard that, like, that sharp inhale. Classic Towers, okay, that's like your standard ladder mode, and also you get like the character story endings, so they're fine. They like serve a purpose at least. But the Towers of Time and the Crypt have no purpose beyond like grinding for gear and cosmetics, when there are so much more better, so much more fun and interesting ways to do that. The one like MK11 Crypt, it's tolerable. At least it was like kind of a story. Well, that was kind of a story in the other Crypts, I guess. But the point is, Towers of Time and Crypts, I don't want them. I have better ideas.
I'm going to give that one a 3 out of 5. And
Fair enough.
and
Me too.
like, it's because, well, first off, I personally really like what they did with the Crypt, but you're right. Like, after you get all of the gear, and I'm literally the only thing I have to get out of the Crypt now is the concept art, and for the life of me, I can't figure out how to do that.
It's not even like the gear, it's the fact that I have to then like exit the Crypt, do the 50 uppercuts, come back, put the head on the fucking spike, and then do that.
Yeah,
For every single character in the game.
fun fact, I cheated that because there used to be an exploit where if you logged into the Crypt and held down the X button and ran towards where the heads were supposed to be placed, and then you released and quickly pressed the X button afterwards, you just placed the head there.
Nice.
And you would actually get the head in your inventory as well. So it would literally just be, I would just do that. I did that 24 times, and as a result, I did in probably an hour and a half what the devs expected you to do in like 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'd say that's a 3 out of 5 take because I know people like the crypt. At the same time, it's like, man, I don't blame you.
I think to just put it out there, I would. What I was thinking, I would much rather use coins as
Yeah.
like a pot, not for like the heads, but like as a participation fee to play like Mortal Kombat or Test Your Might or like the chess game or a mini game or
I would
something
just
with
rather...
with 2 or 3 of my friends and get cosmetics for that depending on your performance in that mini game.
If I could buy concept art with in-game currency, I absolutely would. Because
Fucking
I'm
please.
so tired of the... Like, I played this game for a year and a half, and I was never able to unlock all the concept art, despite me grinding the absolute hell out of the crypt. And I still don't have everything. I still don't have all the concept art. I still don't have all the stage themes that I can just listen to, which, like, even then I don't care that much. I'm a completionist when it comes to gallery stuff. Like... No, I hate that gallery stuff is RNG based. Why did they do this?
Yeah, I'm still mad because I got all the themes to listen to, but I don't have all of the concept art. I'm missing 8 pieces of prop art, and for the launch characters, I'm missing at least 1 piece for all of them. And I'm like, I just want to see if there's any different Fatal Blows. Like, I know Shang Tsung had a way cooler concept for a Fatal Blow before it's just ninjas incarnate. So it's like, yeah, I'm with y'all on that. So,
Any other hot takes?
I got one. So I think it's if I recall correctly, we were doing one each. So
Okay.
so my turn for a hot take, and that hot take is I'm blanking actually. Shit. So I'll let Mono take over for this one.
Okay. So here's one that may be a... Like, I don't know. I might not make friends with this hot take in particular. Melina and Rain both could have sat out MK11 in favor for other characters. I think there were other female characters that were deserving of a spot over Melina, and I think there were other, like, male characters that deserved more than Rain. I also feel like Rain was very ill-suited for MK11 based off its mechanics, because Rain has always been a very juggle-heavy character, and MK11 does not really allow for lots of juggling. And most of Rain's best moves require meter, and even then, breakaway is still a thing.
Yeah.
I personally would have picked Serena and Smoke, but I understand why they went with Melina and Rain, and I'm not against them being in the game, per se. I just don't think they deserved it as much as other characters. And I would have picked others before them.
Yeah. I will give that take a 4 because you're right. It is a hot take and people would crucify you for that. But I personally could be convinced to agree. I could be convinced to have Melina sit out at MK11 in particular because I don't know what possessed them to turn Melina into a zoner.
I don't know either. Like, I just wish she had a more complete move list, because you can tell from playing her that she's definitely missing something.
And that's true for Rain, a little bit less than Melina, but it's definitely true for Rambo. Like, that poor bastard, I swear. Like Rambo screams last minute edition to me.
Combat Pack 2 definitely felt, for the most part, that it was kind of rushed to get out the door. And I get why it was somewhat rushed, because fans were growing more and more impatient and they wanted to get something out. And also COVID was making it harder for them to work on things. Because from what I've heard, not a single character in Combat Pack 2 was based off a new face scan. They sculpted Rambo's face by hand. Melina, they already had Katana's face model, like, face stuff there. And then I heard from, like, a theory that Rain's face is based on a mix between Cabal and Kotal's.
That's interesting.
That's
But,
a theory I've heard.
but that is definitely an interesting take. Okay, I have mine. It's a personal thing that I kind of am gripey with. That I'm personally kind of gripey with when it comes to the voice acting in Mortal Kombat 11, but they relied way too much on previously established voice actors and didn't go with the voice talent that they did, and I hate it. Here's what I mean. First off, why the fuck was Ronda Rousey ever used for Sonya when you could have done Sigourney Weaver if you were going to go with the 80s theme, just as an example? Like, this is a genuine thing I'm confused about. Kerry Tagawa, sure. Why did you
I
basically...
hope that man voices Shang Tsung till the end of time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like that was genuinely the only celebrity voice that I genuinely enjoyed outside of when they got Bridget Wilson to do Sonya, because it meant I had an excuse not to listen to Ronda Rousey anymore, because it's like, you could have done Sigourney, goddammit! But then you have it as early as the reveal trailer. Did you guys know that Patrick Seitz was not notified that he wasn't voicing Scorpion until the trailer came out?
What?
NetherRealm didn't tell him. Like he's voiced Scorpion was voiced by Patrick Seitz since Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, and
That still upsets me.
and he voiced him in Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge. But for MK11, they decided to grab TV star Ron Yuan, which again I'm not blaming Mr. Yuan at all, but it's NetherRealm decided to go with the quote unquote more popular on TV actor than go with the voice talent that they already had on hand that was great with Patrick Seitz, for instance. Then you have the fact that they've been reusing voice actors in some instances for 3 games now, and I'm like, okay, for some characters it makes sense. I understand that you finally have a voice for Sub-Zero, that's fine. But why are you changing so many characters' voices and then just relying on your DC standbys? Like, Jackie is voiced by Vixen. What prompted that? What prompted Shao Kahn to be voiced by Atrocitus? Well, the actors who did those characters in Injustice 2, but still. And another one that really blindsided me was Erica Lindbeck as Cassie Cage. Like, that one was really weird to me. Like, why did you get Black Cat from Spider-Man PS4? And I think she did a bunch of other things, but Erica Lindbeck was a weird one for me. Like, it was arguably the most jarring of the bunch. Like,
Yeah, I much preferred. Oh, who was it? Ashley Butch.
yeah. And hearing Ashley Birch in Horizon Zero Dawn, because I'm playing through it for a series, it's like, why weren't you in MK11? TLDR, my hot take is that they fucked up the voices in MK11, and I don't like it.
I also
I
think...
didn't know Kelly Who was Devora. What the fuck? Lady Shiva out here getting those paychecks.
Okay, well, Kelly Who as Devora works surprisingly well, and
It does.
and I kind of want,
it really
and I really want to see if they decide to do Shiva for Injustice 3, they better get Kelly Who in there.
It really does kind of screw with me a bit that, like, even the characters whose voices they manage to bring back, they're directed really differently, if that makes sense. Like, Johnny has the same voice actor, but he sounds more like a douche in MK11, if that makes sense.
And to add to that then, because there's a thing that is becoming more and more of a stickling point for me that they haven't been doing yet. Remember how in MKX the Revenants had different dialogue options, at least for the most part, to their non-Revenantized versions in certain matchups?
Yeah. They
Well,
don't do that.
Not only that, but I think they should have taken it to the next level as of Injustice 2 and done good guy, bad guy toggles. Like, the very reason why I don't play Wonder Woman in Injustice 2 is because I'm saddled with Psycho Woman. I don't it's just like the one who stabs Harley in the story mode because Harley insults Superman. Like, if you let me play as the good Wonder Woman, you know, the one that Susan Eisenberg actually prefers, because I know this because I asked her about it when she was up here a couple years ago for Comic-Con. I was like, hey, how did you feel about playing a bad guy in Injustice 2? And she said, as much as it's like it's just about the job or whatever, she said that she prefers Wonder Woman as a hero. And I'm like, see, I do too.
Like, you could have at least given us a Nubia skin.
Yeah, and that would have at least given us that, or a Soul of Our Skin for Grodd, because I love playing Grodd as a gameplay character, but I don't like the character of Grodd because he's an asshole and he brainwashed Black Canary, and I want to punch him in the face for that. But, again, if you had a toggle, even if it's like if it's for individual characters, even if it's for certain characters, like, again, have a Dark Raiden, Good Raiden dialogue option, or a Revenant Katana, Normal Katana, Young Johnny, Old Johnny, Young Sonya, Old Sonya. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I get you entirely, and I agree.
Like, it plays into the thing that NetherRealm is, in my opinion, handling their voice work poorly, and not to the optimum, and I don't like that. And that's my hot take.
And I agree with it. I mean, MK11's voice actors changing was very jarring, and hearing what happened with Patrick Seiss just kind of felt incredibly unfair. And the voice actors they did get back, they changed a lot of the direction. Like, I'm fine with Aaron having, like, a southern drawl to his voice. I think that's fine. But, like, why does
Troy
Johnny...
Baker gonna be southern. He gonna be cowboy.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like in some cases, it improves the characters. Like Aaron Black, yeah, now he actually sounds like a guy who comes from a town called Wicket, you know?
And it helps that Troy loves cowboys. Like, he has said many times he wants to be in a Western movie. And I think that, like, just being a cowboy, he's gonna have that, like, fanboy aspect to it.
Again, in this and in a couple of other instances, it improves the character. Like,
yeah,
credit to where Kano's voice actor was due in MKX. He almost got it, but when they swapped him, I was happy because he actually sounds Australian. He's an asshole, but they got it right, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was the Comanche Moon. Troy Baker was in Comanche Moon.
Yeah, but that's it. I don't think I heard a rating for that hot take. I can't imagine it's that hot of a take. So.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey was not well received.
Like, it's not even that Ronda Rousey didn't do a great job. It's whatever. But like, you clearly went 80s action stars your theme for most of your guests.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to do a celebrity guest for Sonya Blade, why didn't you do Sigourney fucking Weaver, you cowards? Or Uma Thurman, or whomst the fuck ever, you know?
Yeah, I think it was like, because Ronda's shifted into, like, screen acting in recent years. Like, she was in Expendables, and she was in Fast and Furious, and then obviously she's an MMA fighter. And so she's got, like, that kind of, I don't know, maybe that's got something to do with it.
Yeah. So that's about all I can think of with that.
Yeah.
I think these are all really good opinions.
It's all.
So next topic or
final topic, because we're coming to the end here. By the way, before we do that though, Matty, I just want to say thank you for the new Twitter profile picture.
Oh, no problem.
I got a new Twitter profile picture thanks to a commission done by Matty. If you want to commission Matty for specific things, he is on Twitter at MilitechMatty. There's a link there, and I believe you also have a Redbubble thing.
I do. Same name on Redbubble, Instagram, yep. Twitter, Tumblr.
Yep. And
awesome.
Get the commissions, cause mans needs money for important things, and He's an
Thanks,
artist,
man.
so you know
Thanks,
artists. You need artists. Give them the money now. Alright, so...
Support your local artists.
Yeah. I'm gonna make the joke, but hashtag sponsored. I'm joking. I really just wanted to help you out there. But now let's get to the final bit. Let's get to the final bit. This will be interesting and fun and interesting. Pitch a Mortal Kombat story mode. I'm gonna give you guys. Normally we do 5 minutes, but I'm gonna give us 3 minutes because I've got things to do for the day. And you've got to pitch a story mode for MK for the next Mortal Kombat. And let me just check the order. So Matty gets to go first. Are you ready?
Ooh. Yes, I'm ready.
Steady, go.
Okay, so I'm thinking MK Shaolin Monks, but instead of a beat 'em up, it is a fully animated and produced AAA story mode, just like MK11. And instead of Liu Kang and Kung Lao, we focus on Serena and Natara in a Bad Boys Rush Hour style plotline. And it returns to that heavy-handed, mindless, explosive action of the 80s and 90s that MK loves to pay homage to, even from like the very first game when they based Johnny Cage off Jean-Claude Van Damme.
And Kano was ripped off of the Terminator.
And the plot is as follows. One of Quan Chi's artifacts has gone missing, and he tasks Serena to go out and find it. Now, Serena has obviously been long free of Quan Chi, but, you know, we can hand wave it with, like, a bargain or blackmail or something like that. And the trail leads to Natara, who is also searching for the artifact. And from there, it's just straight up a buddy cop comedy with, like, the two of them arguing constantly. Or rather, Serena is arguing and Natara is screeching. And she's got that kind of, like, Luke Skywalker R2-D2 where it's just like screams, but she knows exactly what's being said. And
like
but they still
ah!
get,
It's like, ah! My butt does not look big in this outfit. Shut up.
they still got each other's backs, and there's like a Michael Bay level amount of explosions. And Natara chases down some bad guys by flying, and she has to carry Serena with her. And I think
That'd be amazing.
that's what I want the most. Alternatively, I've also recently finished Red Dead Redemption 2, and I would love a game that focuses on Eren and Nightwolf mainly, with the plot focusing on the original Nightwolf and the new female Nightwolf that we saw in Nightwolf's MK11 ending, fleshing out how they're related, and you as female Nightwolf have to play through a set of like ritual trials to prove your worth as nature's new protector.
Ooh, I like that. And then we
Me
would also get a chance to see Aaron Black actually being an an unaging cowboy as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the original Nightwolf would have had to have been hundreds of years old at that by the modern era, so I dig that. I dig that really well. Nice. 30 seconds to spare. Well done. I'm gonna go with my next one. With mine in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is a complete and utter upheaval reboot of Mortal Kombat 11. A literal, like, I'm just gonna take what Dominic did with Mortal Kombat 11, throw it all out the window, and write my own shit. So, here's how I would do it. It's the only thing I'd really keep is that it's 2 years after Shinnok gets decapitated. Raiden's gone dark. They're taking a militant approach to Earthrealm. The combat kids aren't quite sure about this sort of direction and whatever. And then time breaks. And I would have it happen mysteriously. Like, I wouldn't reveal Kronika off rip. I would just have it happen where time just breaks. And the combat kids are hurtled into the past to the original Mortal Kombat tournament.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
And then, as they're trying not to fuck with the timeline, but inevitably doing so because it's a Mortal Kombat game, we have to have people fighting each other that shouldn't be. Like, maybe Takeda gets in a fight with the Vengeful Scorpion because he's wearing Shira Ryu insignias and is like, hey, poser!
No.
You're not sure I write you? And he's like, wait, but I am! And then a big fight happens. And then as you go along, they start seeing, out of the corner of their eyes, they start seeing somebody watching them. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? So they eventually find out that it's Geras. And I specify Geras because I'm going to have Geras be a hero in this story. Time is broken because Kronika is trying to erase and restart history, and Geras is like, this is the billionth time you've done this. I'm done. So he goes to the kidlets to try and help them get through history, and they are put back and forth through Mortal Kombat history. Like, Geras tries to get them closer to the modern era so that they can track down Kronika. Kronika sends them back to the time of the Great Kung Lao. You know what I mean? And then and then just because it's tragedy, we get to watch Kung Jin watch the original Great Kung Lao get torn apart by Goro because we need that. And then it just keeps happening, and then eventually it gets to the point where the elder goddess Cetrion finally is like, okay, enough is enough. I need to step in. Screw all of you guys for sitting aside while these poor kids are getting ping-ponged through history. I'm gonna help. So now you have Geras and Cetrion helping the combat kids find and defeat Kronika, who I'm gonna retcon as a rogue elder god like Shinnok, and defeat her. And what would be really cool is, I'm gonna finish this up because the timer just ended. And the way that it ends is that Geras gets destroyed by Kronika, Cetrion gets imprisoned, and it's like a 5-stage fight where, like, you play as Kronika. So you play as Kronika and you beat Geras and destroy him. You beat Cetrion and imprison her. You beat the rest of the combat kids and they don't die necessarily. Maybe they get beamed out of the arena or something. And now it's just Cassie Cage and Liu Kang, unrevenantized. And it's actually 2 Liu Kangs. It's old and young Liu Kang. And then the 3 of them go after Kronika and they win. Because it's the chosen ones they have to win. And then boom, they fix time. And that's how I do MK11.
Okay.
And I think that would fix most of the problems I have with the MK11 story. Namely that Geras is just another lackey. And that Cetrion is also very disappointing in that Kronika is not smart. So yeah,
it gives Cetrion and Geras more to do in the plot, which I also really appreciate.
Yeah, I totally understand completely. So all right, Mono, finish us up.
Okay. Let me know when the timer's ready.
It is ready now.
Okay, so in an alternate timeline taking place after MKX, I like to imagine a storyline where Dark Raiden continues kind of going down a bit of a dark path where he's kind of making Earthrealm a bit more and more of a dangerous place to all the other realms. Liu Kang and Kitana are now the leaders of the Netherrealm. They want to get rid of Earthrealm and also get rid of Outworld in the process. Then you have Kotal Khan, who is now in the process of not only rebuilding his inner circle, but also training his people because he's fearing a war with Earthrealm at any minute now. You have all 3 of these realms that are in conflict with one another, almost nearly reaching their boiling point. Meanwhile, to continue on the storyline introduced in the MKX comics, the Red Dragon gather as many of the Kamidogus as they can, use Goro to resurrect Onaga in order to have Onaga kind of try to take back Outworld and conquer everyone else, and even almost like summon the One Being in the process. And I like to think that in this storyline, Dark Raiden, Liu Kang, and I guess Kotal would have to momentarily put aside how much they want to kill each other in order to take out Onaga. And I want to think of the story as like a major ending/conclusion to the Liu Kang Raiden rivalry established in MK9. I just want to see that explored. I think there was so much that they could have done with Dark Raiden that they just did not do in MK11, and the fanon story that I've been trying to draft in my head for years is just pretty much a response to Dark Raiden dying in like Chapter 2 of MK11.
Yeah, just being erased from history, because that makes sense.
Especially when he was so heavily focused on in the promotional material, and I think giving Raiden even if it was momentary and just for that game, a darker, somewhat more like, I shouldn't say outwardly villainous, but definitely more violent and somewhat authoritarian in how he handles conflicts with the other realms. I think it could have been really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally get behind that. It sounds like a continuation of the comics that we never really got, because you mentioned the Onaga plot and Goro and them, so...
Which I was really upset by. I thought that would have been cool to see Onaga again.
Yeah, especially if he kind of got a new, like, tuned-up design to make him look even scarier than he was in Deception, which, don't get me wrong, he was terrifying, but, you know.
It would have been really cool.
Yeah. I saw the fan art of where they turned Onaga into a Chinese dragon, like an Eastern dragon style. I'm like, that makes so much more sense than what we got. I kind of want that.
I think I know what you're talking about, too.
Yeah, like, I really liked that art. But that is going to do it, ladies and gents. That is 3 hours of Mortal Kombat content on the channel. I unfortunately do not really have an idea for another theme. So, if you guys come up with a theme, whether that's you guys in the comments, whether that's Mono or Matty or anybody else who's in here, please, oh please, oh please let me know, because I know we have a month until the next sort of idea thing, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't really have much in the way of ideas at the minute, so give them to me. So thanks for coming by, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad to always be here, as always.
Yeah, I know you missed the comic stream last time for at least some of it, but I'm glad that you guys have taken to the idea really well, and it makes me happy. So, thanks guys for coming by. Don't forget to be awesome, and we'll see you guys on the other side.